coming out on recently, but that is going to change here. Opening this one up between ViPer and VortiX. Game 1 is underway in this best of 5. And open up, of course. First choice that we've got to discuss, is VortiX going to go for the double scout? You got it, right? Yeah, there it is. It's so important, right? You have to get a second scout in this matchup.
I think so as well. Obviously, we are trying to go for the bounty ruse. If they kill some deer, if they kill any wild animals, they increase in their bounty system, gain some gold, as we can see here at the side, 75 gold. Tier 1 is something we try to reach pretty early, and then we generate a bit more gold in our hunting cabins, get food a bit faster. And obviously, the big goal is not only to get that for the ruse, but the Abbasid indirectly gets the task to deny exactly that.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of these crazy things. Like, a lot of people try to ignore the hunting game, right? You simply can't, because the way you have to think about it, like, a lot of people, they kind of get wrapped up on, like, oh, the hunting cabins, they generate quicker, and oh my god, look at all this extra food I'm gathering. It's not even that. It's the free gold, right? It's just so much gold at this stage in the game. Like, right now, we are a minute and a half in. He's got 150 resources for free. Effectively, like, what was that? That's like 3-4 villagers gathering for a minute. Because villagers give you on average about 40 resources a minute. That's a huge booster. It's why the Rus is one of the quickest to unlock their feudal age timing without sacrificing any of their scalability.
Oh, that's interesting. Now second scout is coming over here for VortiX. Will obviously get the double hit. And now the question is, what does ViPer go for? Tries to go for the shot. Now second scout arriving as well, but feels like the Muslim should get everything.
He's so delayed as well. Like, he wasted all this time running little scouty poo over here, and it just doesn't pay any dividends as he gets fully denied. So right now, like, great job by VortiX. Is at this stage, ViPer still only 160 bounty, and I don't think there's much left on the map, right? Like, he's got 2, maybe 3 wolves remaining, I feel like this must be.
Not that great.
We're going for the third scout. This is the hunting
And he was counting on more, right? He was greedy. He actually went for wheelbarrow. So 150 gold gone there, and is trying to increase this economy, but still needs 2 more wolves and a sheep kill to go up.
It does feel ambitiously early. Like, you are sacrificing your scout scalability, but it's kind of that balance, that tier order. I think if you get at least 250 bounty, like, you're pretty solid. It's kind of, I compare it similarly to the HRE with the relics, right? Like, if you get 2 unlocks, like, good, right? If you get 3, oh my god, you're just rolling around in bags of money, right? You're wiping your butt with $50 bills. It feels so good. Oh, this feels
You only
good
have $50 bills. You know that in any other country in the world, $50 bills are actually, or like 50 bills, aren't that crazy?
Okay, not all of us hosted a $100,000 LAN, okay? Not all of us are, like, rolling in money here, Nili. Come on. I'll take $50 bills any day of the week.
Okay, well, maybe pound sterling is worth a bit more than some US dollars.
That's true. I mean, 50-pound notes are pretty big. I don't think I've ever had one personally. Okay, now I sound really poor now. I'm just going to stop.
Wait. You never had a 50 pound?
I don't, why would I need, like, why would you need them, right? Like, you know when it's just unnecessary? Like, imagine
Are you older
in this
than
game,
7 years old?
Okay, but, like, let me put it in perspective. Imagine in this game, the ViPer had 10 scouts. Why? At this stage, would you have 10 scouts? Like, it's such a big quantity, I don't need it. What? I'm not dealing in drug money here, Nili, okay? Like, especially with credit cards these days, why are you carrying around so much money in your pocket?
Buy some chewing gum. Buy a lot of chewing gum.
That's a lot of chewing gum you're buying, Nili. What requires 50-pound notes that you're buying?
Okay, moving on.
I think we should move on. Because right now, look at the game system. In the game, ViPer is going to crack that tier 2 bounty. So not too bad for him. Looks like he might end up with around 300 bounty. And this is glorious because this opens up a lot of wiggle room. One of the cool things about the Rus is they don't even need to go on gold early. So that saves them 50 wood. They get great trades from the Golden Gate. For those that don't know how this works, you pay 100 resource to get 150 of something else. And one big play I'm very much a fan of, especially even up against someone like the Abbasids, the Rus can actually sneak a second TC without revealing they're doing it. Because they don't need to go on the stone. They can just buy it.
Let's see what he is going for. Obviously, 100 gold generates 150 resources. Your choice, food, wood, or stone. ViPer not committing to anything yet. And look at that. 150 stone in the bank already.
Oh, it's coming. I can feel it. It's just, it makes sense. Like, I don't know why else necessarily you want the Rus on this map. You could go for a ram rush, but I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit gambly to open up this series. And VortiX, I feel like he's one of the better players at dealing with this high aggression in the early stage of the game. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he was going for an aggressive play as the opposites himself. Because we are now 5.5 minutes in the game, and VortiX has shown no interest in going on his stone, but looks like that's changing. Switching over now.
Yeah, wanted to be safe first. As I said, they had this incredible feudal age battle the other day, and VortiX was on the verge of losing it. Made a great defense happen, so Viper is switching it up. But VortiX was still scared, wanted to be safe. Feels okay, and survived the early game, and then can still go double TC.
This is a little bit dangerous, though. Like, you notice that expansion, right, onto the deer. Viper, because he chose double TC, he can't go for Bro Scouts, but his opponent has already shown Horseman. So he actually has to, and this might be fantastic if he does it correctly, he has to drag his attention away, but the Scouts can't outrun the Horsemen, so eventually they will die to this as one of them goes down so easily.
Okay, now needs to run as well. Try to go for the snipe on VortiX side, and gets away. Where do we build our town center here?
I think you build it, like, between the two wood lines. Okay, that was dangerous from Viper, though. You saw that, right? Like, he's literally dragging VortiX towards his eco expansion. Like, look what I've been doing over here. Kind of like flaunting his new toy. That was very dangerous, but looks like VortiX does peel back. So, yeah, I expect it to be between the two wood lines just to try and connect his base, keep it safe. Because, like, he is being greedy, and his opponent has built Horsemen. So, like, if you go too loose, I think you're going to get spanked for it. So we'll see, though. Like, at the moment, he's building Horsemen himself, so he does have some sort of tempo control.
Some casters enjoying some spanking, some players not really enjoying it too much. Now he has enough stone, but actually with the horseman production and the stable, not really having enough wood. And as you can see, a bit imbalanced there. I think maybe something next to the deer could be an option. Remember, he does not have professional scouts, so needs to take care about his food protection.
Yes, it's limited food as well, right? There's going to be more idle time. I think he wants that second TC near the wood lines I was talking about so he can set up farmland safely. But look at this bait. He's dragging him in. Ambush! Surprise, mother trucker! And he'll run away straight away. Minimum damage, but still not a good trade. Remember, these horsemen, unlike the scouts, cannot heal.
Indeed, that's the case. Viper now building his second town center. 300 stone in the bank for VortiX, so could catch up there. Interesting choice. Built it rather defensively. Didn't go for the deer at the left-hand side or the exposed ones at the right-hand side. So long-term town center. But VortiX, he's going for Spearman. And that could be scary if he goes for like a Spearman ram push.
I like to call this one the pokey stick composition, right? Horsemen and spears, like everyone's just got sticks. For some reason, the horsemen don't get bonus damage despite having a stick, but not against us, any cavalry. But yeah, this is actually, I feel like this is the better composition right now. Horsemen are just such a god tier unit at this stage in the game. Their mobility makes it that way. And spearmen, like think about it this way, like it used to be you go, say like knights and archers. The problem with that composition is they're split. Nice snipe on the scout in the meantime, but like just think about this process. Like if you split your archers and your spears, like it's easier to target the unit you're getting bonus damage against, right? If you have melee mosh pit going on, even as a high level player, it's really frustrating to constantly click the correct targets in that mosh pit.
Yeah, absolutely. And units relatively small, especially if you have units clumped up very much. So that could be a bit tricky. And it feels like Horseman gave you some map control. Not too much to follow after this, and game stabilizes. Now the big question, how you get an advantage here. It feels like VortiX heavily going on to gold now. Just thinking about Castle Edge, while the Viper already way closer.
Yeah, that's what I was about to highlight. He's already on his way, so VortiX is playing behind. This is really well played by Viper. He responded to his opponent's move, but he didn't sacrifice his own eco, and this is because the benefits that the Roost get. It's not as well revealed as other civs, right? You have to think about it. Like, we highlight the bounty at the beginning. Then there's also the 20% additional wood drop-off. Then there's the Golden Gate trades. I think people kind of sleep on how effective Roost's early game economy is a lot of the time. I actually rate this Golden Gate alone to be the best tier 2 landmark in the game, because it continues to scale and also gives you so much flexibility as to what you do with it next.
Deer stones.
Deer stones. You think you like deer stones more? Interesting.
I'm not sure, but I like to disagree with my casters. But yeah, actually, I never thought of it like that.
It's the scalability, right?
The thing is, it just obviously gives you some trade possibilities, but it kind of generates 50 free resources every minute.
Yes, like that's the thing. Like it's just it's free gains, and it's also like you save on a marketplace. And pause that for little raid on the horseman. Moving in, might stab down one of the villages. The rest should get away. But remember, it's 2TC versus 2C. But like to bring back that point, because I think it's really interesting to discuss this, is like Deer Stone, it gives you a power spike, but then it loses value, right? Like, you can pack it up and move it, but that's, like, kind of superfluous. The cool thing about Golden Gate is you get instant bulk value. It gives you flexibility, as we're seeing with this Stone trade play that opens up TC expansions. Or you can go harder in a quick castle. And the cool thing is, like, when you get hyper late game and you're both trading with the marketplace, who still gets the good trades? It's the Roost player, because they're guaranteed to get 150 of a resource for 100 of another.
Yeah, so sweet. Let's do something that we didn't properly do yet. Look at relics. So we have 2 at the top, or basically 1 in each corner, and an additional 1 at the top. So Viper, I think it's not unlikely that he will get up to 4 relics here.
Yeah, he actually got a better generation if you look at it as well, right? The first relic is closer to his base in his corner compared to what VortiX got. And then the 2 central ones are actually kind of pushed towards him. It's almost like Viper has learned how to use the Force and he's slowly pulling towards his base, right? Because it does feel like VortiX got a little bit counterfeited here.
I think right at the left-hand side. Okay, no horsemen, just chilling it out for now. Pushing those villagers away. Now going in, but villagers should have enough HP. The dance.
The little juggle back and forth. Oh, they're getting with the stabs, though. Shots coming out from the TC. We'll back off one of the horsemen. Second one falling as well. And remember, folks, these shifts, they hurt a little bit. About 6 damage. Nice quick poke down. If you hang around too long, the horsemen do not get bonus damage against those villagers. And a knight will club both of them down easy peasy.
Yeah, and Viper has to be happy with this. Obviously, pretty stable game. Now, the big question is VortiX. Relic control will be tricky for him. How do you play this? Is it a big attack in Castle Age? Or are you trying to make the 3TC play happen?
Surely he should have ran a few spears out, right? Like, I'm kind of surprised he hasn't put spears on these relics. Because his opponent hadn't, like, pushed anything else yet. Like, so far, it's just been melee cavalry. So, like, VortiX, it's kind of like he's just looking and going, Viper, you do what you're going to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And we'll see each other in, like, 15 minutes.
Okay.
It's interesting as well, because, like, I don't mind that play if you go a 3rd TC. But VortiX has chosen to stick on 2. And I think this is literally his hand being forced by Viper getting the quick castle age. So right now, it feels like after that initial transition that Viper had to make in the game, ever since that, VortiX has been kind of knee-jerk reacting to what Viper does. He's going to have to keep doing it as these night raids start to come in. Nice little stab. Roots him on the spot. And it looks like Viper, by the time he notices, heavy damage done. Still in an early night. And remember, the damage on these knights, unlike the counterpart in the French forces, do not heal over time.
Maybe position next to the Abbey of Trinity could be an option, because monks will get there eventually. The big question, though, both players kind of happy with not attacking right now. Both players happy to drag it out into the late game.
Yeah,
It's
kind of
very
surprising.
rare in RTS that both players have the same plan and neither player is making a mistake by it.
Especially after what we just saw in the Viper de Muslim series, right? Like, this feels very weird how chill everyone is. But I do feel like Viper's getting the better side of this. Like, he's going to grab 3 relics banked soon. On top of that, like, they're not being impeded. And also, the eco side is matched. Now, VortiX does get a slight edge due to fresh foodstuffs, but I think that's negated by the additional gather rates on the wood line, as well as, you know, the hunting on the game that is only being done by 1 player. I feel like Viper is definitely ahead at this stage.
Viper gets the keep up, gets all 5 relics as well. Pretty crazy. As you can see, 2 on the way, still 1 in the corner. Oh, maybe that one gets intercepted, though.
Oh, but look what he's doing. Look what he's rushing to do. So the wall's going to come out, is spotted. VortiX will not let that one slide. But now look what the snowball is. He gets spotted out in this rotation, but he's prepping an army. And that's onto the TC expansion, something that only has 2.4k HP. In the meantime, Viper, he's going for these pick-me raids, right? Where you just go in 1 or 2 units, you poke and prod with your pew-pew ponies, but it's not this big, solid falcon punch to the face that VortiX is now looking to deliver.
Oh, that's going to be tricky, and typically against that army you want to have some sprinkles. Viper, not a single siege unit on the field, and still didn't properly see that the siege push is coming.
That we talked about this in the previous series. Those stealth forests, man, they should come with a horror warning, all right? You're like 18 and above, because they're scary. Right, you could have a heart attack trying to walk into one of these, like hiding everything he's doing, and VortiX fully utilizing the power of the Abbasid dynasty. Meanwhile, the Viper, now at this stage, falling back to your old filthy style of Rus. I'm just not sure it's going to be as powerful as it used to be, and I'm not sure it's going to be as powerful as what VortiX is about to do to the Rus base.
Viper's floating so many resources as well. Look at that. 600, 600, 400, 800. What's this? He needs to keep ASAP here, but I'm not sure if that's going to go up. 2 Rams now coming in. Just ignore the hunting cabin and go in would be my advice. Viper, still no reaction.
Hey, man, I don't know. Do you want him to get that passive goal? Oh, wait, no, there's a TC over here. Let's get rid of that instead. And that's going to force the whole wood line away. Viper doesn't have the army to respond to this. Only 17. Meanwhile, VortiX with over 20 military pop cap lead. And now the rush out the villages, but the Mangonel can exploit this. Needs to be careful. Heavy damage coming in. Can't even access the Rams. Trying to go into the Mangonel, but that's not enough villagers to burn it down. Backs away just in time. Still being chased, but the deficit that is now building. Heavy damage in. TC falling quickly. Almost on fire at this stage, and the Mangonel prevents him from even repairing it. The expansion is going to fall, and now VortiX with a clear lead.
Oh, that's so big. And what a great micro there with the Mangonel being microed back. Villagers were sent in, but not really finding the kills. So many losses, and all of a sudden, VortiX is having a solid 15 villager lead here. Crossbows trying to defend, and someone is enjoying this game. Thothi, thanks for the 25 gifted.
You know what, guys? I don't worry. All those horses are just playing dead right now. They're not just dead, but Viper might be dead in this game soon, because this is looking unanswered. 2 Mangonels. Or one, yep, well, actually one rather. There's 3 Springles, so I love this actually. This is really good. He knows that Viper now needs to build siege, so he's just using a small quantity of Mangonels to slowly win the fights while also keeping the anti-siege number in his favor. And right now, with this breach through the wooden fortress, keys to the base are handed over, and Viper still doesn't have the defense force to answer this as heavy damage being done. He doesn't get the repair in time. Mangonel goes down.
And next one in danger as well. Let's take a look. Double Springle there gets the kill as well. More villagers being pulled.
Wait, what? The villagers? No! This is such a sacrifice. He's down to 1 TC now, but he needs to do something. Rushes the villagers in. Will burn through the Mangonels and the Springles, but at what cost? So many dead peasants. I know that the serfs were not valuable to the Rus nobility, but in this situation, I think you need them to get you out of this hole.
Oh man, more villagers being pulled. Rams are finally getting cleared up, but it can't be enough. So much army is going down. VortiX with such a nice push. Villagers will get the kill, but look at that. 40 villagers against 80.
Yeah, I feel like Viper's looking and seeing this gold ore effect and being like, that makes them more powerful, right? No. No, it doesn't change how they do damage in this game. Doesn't change their health number. And now, look at the eco. VortiX is about to double up the villager count of Viper.
Oh, at least one pickup here. Viper now with the keep that I wanted to see 3-4 minutes ago before the push happened. He had enough stone. Yes, relics are still looking fine. Viper has 4. Still left-hand side, 1 neutral, 1 here next to the army. Viper is pushing this one back, but economy is just
but look,
so much.
Look what he's relying on. He's switched into archers now, right? Like, this is just heavy range composition, but it means, like, you're going to be clumped up these Mago shots pretty easy peas. Even more archers coming out. Viper is just scraping the bottom of the barrel right now, and VortiX, meanwhile, is hurling barrels at his opponent. The wrap in. Looks like this win will occur for him in this initial fight, but this has spotted out the keep, and now I'm pretty sure in this situation, VortiX sticks on his swag glasses. He says, you can keep this area, and then just comes at you from the north.
And Viper will be, I see what you did there.
It didn't sink in at first. It's better if you have the CSI Miami music playing in the background. But speaking of a keep-up, this one looking like a beaut. So it's going to deny any expansion on the south side. And also, think how easy it is for VortiX to now just wrap into the north side of his opponent's base. This is the weakness of Dry Arabia. This is why like the tempo setter tends to kind of win out 80% of the time. Because there's just too much to defend.
Yeah. Woodlines will be scarce as well eventually. Viper still 2 sacred sites. I'm surprised that VortiX not really contesting those. And look at that. I heal you if you heal me.
Ah, yes. The healing circle jerk, as I like to refer to it. Just petting each other's horses right now. Takes a long time when you look like this. I mean, you know, we've got so used to watching herbal medicine deli in our pub games that we forget that type of stuff isn't allowed here.
80 population for the Viper. He is housed right now. Can't really go at higher. Now those two, after some cuddling, decided to go aggressively against 2 towers.
Oh, no, Timmy! Oh, he's going to make it out. Okay, now they pat each other's horses again, and then they come in again. Like, this is actually so annoying.
Friend, it's all good. It's all good. We will live. Looks like it's a zombie movie where they barely got away.
It's just right, like, you know what this is like? This is like real game like logic for FPSs. You know games that have like regen, like you get shot and you just heal a few seconds? That's what this feels like right now. It's like, I've lost an arm. Just super glues the arm back on. All right, back to raiding the villages.
Back to 100 HP.
feels good. And now
Viper
it's
is
still not
stabilizing
dead.
somewhat. But
is.
then I looked at the population of VortiX.
Yes, so he's getting Sacred Site control and he's gaining some ground, but like, this is a delay on purpose. VortiX, he dropped the Siege Workshop at the front, and now he's got the Trebs coming out. And I don't know, I feel like we know by now how this meta works. Rocks fall from the sky equal bad. And right now, Viper might fall behind in that department. Spring Fire coming out. Nice trade initially.
Mangle, low HP.
More coming in. But remember that this is so hard for Viper because if VortiX has surplus economy, which he does due to the villager difference, he can just instant replace these on the front. It's the creep siege that makes the Mongols and the Abbasids so strong at this stage in the game.
What a crazy control there by the Viper. It's still 60 population behind, don't get me wrong, but... don't get me wrong.
These right here are ghillie suit Springolds. They're hiding in the tree right now. And that's just going to be an outright trade. I don't even call it a trade. That's just Viper getting ripped off. VortiX just sold him snake oil, ironically enough.
We need more traps now. 2 out already. It's getting costly. Getting costly to prepare against 2 traps. The moment he gets to 3 or 4, it becomes really weird because then you need to pull so many villagers. And, well, now let's take a look. Viper's trying to... Thought for a moment he was thinking about engaging, but I think he has the inferior army.
Abort, Springle damage, that's not enough! Baits him in, able to get away though, only Archer Fire, so small pew pew's not enough, but the Springle emplacement, the Wooden Fortress gets rid of 1. And I think VortiX misdone the numbers there. He goofed them a little bit. Needed 1 or 2 more Springles before he attempted that. But the Treb damage is coming in. Like, this is working. Slowly but surely, 2 is enough because Viper, remember that heavy hit to his economy means he can barely afford the villagers away from his production lines to repair this each time.
And he also was repairing the siege, right? And then the villagers couldn't really repair the keep. Getting reasonably low on HP here.
I think there's a third trap now as well.
Ooh,
the keep crawl. This is really powerful for the Arbaces, remember, because their keeps are able to heal you. So they're just chilling right now. He's just getting juiced up over time. Like, if you thought it was silly to watch the 2 ponies in the north pat each other, like, this keep is just throwing out free healthcare to everything around once you get those researchers in.
Then maybe you try to push the issue here. No, thinks better of it.
Needs to be careful. That Stealth Forest can only hide so much, and if you build a keep there, it's going to be gone. So plays it a little bit safer. Trebs in the meantime firing onto that keep. And that is, like, think about the numbers right now. So if you think about the villager investment, without wood as well, by the way, Mayday, they've ran out. But this is like 15 of Viper's eco. A quarter not working right now. And that means that military count is continuing to increase for VortiX as he moves in. Springle's going for the trade. Able to snipe out 1 or 2 and back off here. Magos didn't get the opportunity for a shot, but that also did keep Viper's army at bay from engaging.
Viper is just so focused on holding this area that his production was not really there. Now 2 crossbowmen in the queue. Goes for the speed upgrade for his Springald. Still will be really tricky. And VortiX on the other side, he just goes for more traps, keeps on expanding, and his army is soon to be maxed out pop 200, and then he will make a go.
You said that with so much happiness. He's gone for more traps. He yells, prepare for treble. He fires away. The keeper will eventually die, and then he'll move forward with the traps. This is our meta right now. I mean, it's really powerful. People slept on this for so long, but people really starting to realize just how golden the trebuchets can be. And now the push in. Man-at-arms need to be careful. A lot of crossbow here to defend for Viper, so taking good initial trades. And it's because the mangonels aren't here. VortiX seemingly has them on a coffee break.
Uh-oh. Now pushes them forward, and then it gets tricky for the Viper because his Springer number is at 0. He has no answer to the mangonels.
Oh, now the Wooden Fortress is going to fall. And Viper, look how fragile he is. The wood, he hasn't moved to a new line, and he doesn't have an option. These are the only wood lines near his base. It means he's going to be depleted fully on the wood count, and VortiX will continue to escalate with almost 2k surplus wood in the bank.
Uh-oh, massive fight upon us, mangonels. Let's take a look at their shots.
Heavy hit incoming. Spreads out a little bit. Doesn't do enough damage to take one out, though. Trying to focus fire on it. Backs up a little bit. Steps back to turn around again. Clustered on the corner of the tree line. Heavy hit there. Damage being done, and Viper's numbers quickly being depleted as he tries to use his pseudo Springles in the Trebs at long range. But the mangonels are going to clean up now. Another one being sniped up. Villagers rushing out as the Springles, I don't know what they were doing. I think they were trying to defect to the other side and are appropriately punished, but this villager count, there's so many dead now. Even if you even up this fight, now look at the eco count. 58 to the 119 of VortiX.
And it's more villagers falling, right? Because the army is now superior for VortiX as well. Those villagers are obviously going to fall. More push coming in, and I don't think Viper has a fighting chance in this one. VortiX will lead 1-0.
Yeah, waves the white flag, and it didn't feel like it had a fighting chance for the last few minutes. Just so well played by VortiX to take this opening game. Understood his timings, and despite the early lead Viper took and the way he played the opening of the game, I feel like Viper, once they both cracked Castle, he had a clearer plan of how to execute here. And you can kind of see it on the timings there. Viper's plan just fell off the side of a cliff.
Oh, look at that. Both with the second TC pretty much at the same time, but then Viper losing villagers while VortiX unrated at home could just continue with his army. And it just felt the Viper didn't really have the vision. Let's go into floating resources. Let's take a look at that in the timeline. That could be interesting.
He did look like he wanted Imperial at one stage, right? Like he was kind of hoarding.
I'm not sure about that one. Total resource count. And you saw that Viper there at the 16, 17 minute mark, he was floating over 3,000 resources, while you saw, oh no, Viper's red. What? Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say.
This is not supporting my case.
Good old colorblind Nili here. Just here to tell you that I can't see the lines. But no, the lines were a little bit funky, right? Like you can see he makes that investment in Castle, he gets it up, and I feel like just off that sword, like that second little peak there, it's almost like he's trying to prep for something, and that was when VortiX raided in. That was the timing, right? He caught him trying to gather the relics. The Wololo is a big Walla Nope, and then he immediately moves forward, puts down the Rams and the Bagonel, and from that point on, Viper is forced to invest, but he doesn't have the infrastructure because he was clearly looking for a later timing.
Oh, nice push there, and found the timing quite nicely. Viper, no keep. Viper, no vision over at the left-hand side, and didn't have the army ready. And the first push kind of won the game for VortiX here.
There we go. Let the flag burn by and arrive on this map. The first thing we're looking at is this is basically just dry Arabia with one tiny cliff line. This is... Lipany tends to be kind of noted as this map with a lot of cliff lines creating really tough choke points, but this is just the White Cliffs of Dover, the only one that exists in the entire map. So quite an open generation, I'd say, wouldn't you?
I think VortiX is quite fortunate in the sense that he's surrounded by 4 wood lines there. So walling could really be an option for him. Also some extra wood lines to the right-hand side, and look at that. Like he can use this. Oh, look at that. That's an easy wall with the cliff as well.
We missed that one. We were baited by the mini-map. So there is a little bit extra clifton. But yeah, it is mainly the wood lines. So it's not a permanent defense. But to your point about like the generous generation for VortiX, I say that like 20 times. I think one weakness of it is he only has one safe tree line, right? Like the second one is out of TC range. And we know that HREs don't like to extend their base. There's very much a stacked economy. So this could bite him a little if there's some early aggression. And Viper is playing a Civ that can outpost rush you. Admittedly not his playstyle with the Chinese, but we have seen plenty of players utilize it, especially on this map.
It feels like the Viper is on a timer. Look at the minimap and look at the relic placement. VortiX is surrounded by wood lines, and around that circle we have a circle of relics. 3 basically in his corner, 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, and VortiX with HRE has to be so happy with this.
It's kind of like if you think of it in kind of mini-game perspective, you know when you get those game modes in RTSs where it's like 1 person's king of the hill and 4 people versus them? It kind of feels like that, right? That this generation, like everything is built around VortiX, and Viper should have a second ally somewhere. Because like you mentioned, like these relics should be hard to intercept. The deers are actually in kissing distance almost. The wood lines, my god, just having 4 close to your base. Even the stone. Obviously not something you utilize much as VortiX on the HRE, but like it's all there. It's all beautifully just stocked within less than a quarter of the map.
Yeah, has to be happy with that. And as we mentioned earlier, easy wall-offs are an option, and I think VortiX should be fine with just playing super defensively in Feudal Age. Obviously still open, archer range, stable, and then if you have a reasonable competitive Castle Age timing, just snag yourself 2-3 relics and you're in a prime position to win this game.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see if Viper is going to try to get aggressive. Like we mentioned in the previous series, it's not really his style of China, but I feel like in this matchup, like if you actually get an inkling to like how this map has been generated, you kind of have to. And if we look at his vision, the concern I have is I don't think he scouted out all the relics. So by the time he gets this information, we're almost 4 minutes into the game, and it feels like you missed your window to start moving out and dropping outposts.
Okay, so the big question, how is the Viper approaching it in case he scouts it? Feudal Age all in, you already said, not really his style. Is it maybe cutting some corners, trying to reach Castle Age a bit earlier? We could see that as an option. I think he has to go somewhat out of his comfort zone and make a major Feudal Age play and maybe a Feudal Age all in happen.
Yeah, just stonewall your opponent. Oh, wait, we can't do that. Ah, damn. Yeah, it's kind of like the cheesy strategies aren't accessible right now because of his timing. I think Viper has to maybe fall back to, like, just getting Song Dynasty and then pushing Horseman out in the midfield. Because I don't think you can go second TC, right? Like, to quote some of the best players in the game, if you're racing Castle and Eco Boom against HRE, you've already lost the game. Like, this is the Civ you absolutely never do that against.
Oh, but look at that. How much he's sending on food?
That's a lot of people.
3 on gold.
And then there's a tax factor, right? And he's got the Imperial Academy right there. So, you know, just turns around, throws the gold into a giant pot, turns around. He's like scooping it quickly. Very efficient.
Huh. Is this a fast Barbican?
It
Or is
could
this
be.
going to be a fast Castle Age?
I think if you're going fast Barbican, you have a villager out already, right? This has to be fast Castle. It's not a bad idea as well. Like, if you beat your opponent to Castle by some miracle, because, you know, he's HRE, then you do have the power of the Palace Guard. And you can delay an HRE player like 2 or 3 minutes, right? Like, you can actually completely stunt his timing. And we've seen what happens to HRE players who don't get relics for 2 or 3 minutes. They're like a baby just crying for their bottle the whole time. And, you know, it doesn't end pretty. Like, this Civ lives and dies on their ability to gather relics right now.
Well, let's take a look. Now we have the barracks for our HRE player. Could technically be men-at-arms. We are still on food. We are still on gold. Could also be just some spearmen for the defense.
I think it's
It is instantly
Spears
scouted.
because of Horseman, right? Like, he's waiting for that threat. But Viper, I don't think he's revealed it yet. Instead, he's dropping a very defensive Barbican in the Sun. This is very much like when the game first came out, levels of Barbican in the Sun. Extends his influence, protects his gold and his berries. Doesn't really do anything else, though. Especially on an open map.
It's mainly for Song Dynasty, I believe. And
Yes.
Viper, he is sitting at 90 food. Now second scout is coming out. I think Viper needs to micro bit here.
Yeah, he's going to have to shift back. But, like, these scouts, they're not really that big of a threat. I call them stormtroopers, right? They don't even look like they should be hitting with how bad they swing those swords. But slowly but surely they will kill units. Obviously, eventually they're going to get tweaked, so they'll be doing 2 damage but double the attack speed, which makes a little bit more sense. But right now, it's just trivial. And if he can get this complete quick
10
enough,
HP.
then he can garrison. But I think that one villager, I think he's going to go down. It's not going to be fast enough.
Jump!
Bye, Sonny boy. Boop.
Okay, that's an unnecessary loss here by the Viper.
Yeah, it definitely hurts a
Those
little
two
bit.
scouts getting some damage.
Because your economy is already 20% less efficient than the Chinese, right? Because the Chinese have supervised, but you have Holy Inspiration maxing out everything right now with Arc and Chapel and a single prelate. So, like, right now, everything looks better for VortiX. And it looks like we are going to see the aggression now. So, Zhugnu being pushed out. Interesting choice, considering that VortiX does have the option to go for either Knights or Man-at-Arms quite quick in this game.
Man-at-Arms is actually not that great against Junganu, because, as you mentioned in our earlier game, they simply fire the 3 arrows, so the big armor not affecting them too much compared to archers, for example. And therefore, an aggression could work out, but still, yeah. Knights could be a great counter, and as we can see, VortiX now clicking up to Castle Age already.
I'm trying to hide the truth of what's happening here. Like, it's literally just the game against the Muslim, isn't it? It's literally what we're getting here. Like, Viper saw something in that game where it beat him, and ever since then, he's like, I see Chinese's true potential now. They are a ramming Civ, yes. And he's already moving in position for it. And this will intercept on the Ragnitz Cathedral construction. He won't be able to stop it because, of course, Zhugnu's slow, can't dive, very squishy. But he will be in position to, like, choke this base very quickly.
Well, let's take a look. Maybe a prelate sneaking out there at some point. Right now, 2 prelates on the map. Some men-at-arms, not in the highest numbers. And Viper, from here on, he should not be looking back. Feels like he needs to go and try to get those. I'm not even sure if Junganu kills a prelate here.
I wouldn't
don't think
underrate
so.
it. I think there's a second one, right? A second one just ran in. So, prepare for trouble and make it double. Bye-bye. And this man-at-arms, like, he's pretty flimsy. He's not teched up. He's a feudal age man-at-arms. So you can kind of obliterate him with just free Zhugnu. However,
But
like...
Viper, he should...
No, he's going to run past him. He's going to run past him. This is the stupid part about this strategy. Like, the prelate doesn't have enough protection yet, and you're getting enough Zhugnu, you will slowly answer these man-at-arms. You just have to min-max and drag away, right? Because look at this, he cancelled it. I knew it. VortiX, he wanted to get the marching drill so he could gap close. That was the only option he had, is both these units move at 1.12. But now without it, the peppering begins, and he can never gap close on these units to kill them off.
And it's still Feudal Age Men-at-Arms, so only 3 armor here, and those Jungunu can still do quite some damage. Look at that, Viper. I think he didn't lose a single Jungunu yet.
Yeah, and Viper's also getting the upgrade, so he's about to get +3 damage to these shots out on the man-at-arms. And the man-at-arms, because there's no blacksmith, because VortiX cancelled it, he will not have that extra layer of protection, meaning he will definitely start to die on what is a very pricey unit, even at this stage, for the HRE. It's 120 resources for a unit that is basically doing nothing. The only good side of this, as you're seeing there, is if he retreats them away in time, he can heal them with the prelate, but that also means your prelate is still not gathering your relics.
Ooh, this is interesting. VortiX, how can he really move out? Now, obviously, he can heal his Men-at-Arms, goes for the Castle Age upgrade, and that's an exposed wood line now. Men-at-Arms are going to the right-hand side.
Oh.
And Viper's still full control over there as well.
Yeah, he's rubbing his hands together. Interesting. VortiX going into the Iron Undermesh, just trying to reduce that damage. Still no interest in instantly trying to get his hands on the marching drills because it's so pricey. Means that he won't have the gap close potential still. And even with that extra range resistance, like, Viper is reaching the critical mass, right? Like, before you know it, he's going to be instantly blitzing a man-at-arms with so many of these arrows coming out.
Let's take a look. Then that's a low HP prelate. I think the scout might get 1-2 hits in. Then Jungunu are committing. While we see the move at the left-hand side as well. Tricky stuff here.
He doesn't see it either. He doesn't have the vision for this, so it's going to ambush him. But it looks like Viper, he's going back around the tree line. He understands he has to cut this off, and he will be able to do so. The wall won't be successful, even if he tries it. And that relic is going nowhere. And remember, folks, every time you lose a prelate like this, it's not only 100 gold lost, you now miss out on an additional villager as you have to use your town center to replace what you just lost. And you're losing a lot. More villagers falling. God. Wait, does he have any sheep at all? I don't think he does.
I don't think so. I think he just moved out to the berries. But that was denied. He's idle under the town center. VortiX has no food income. The 600 at the top is a lie. That will change.
The villager's just like, wait, I heard that we just get passive gold. Isn't that how we sustain an economy? Yeah, you need to get the relics first for that. Get back to work, you slouches. Back onto the wood line, but I don't know. Even one relic, it feels like it's so delayed. 11 minutes in before you get your first relic, and I don't know if you'll get a second one either. Meanwhile, Viper, he's still scaling. Like, when you look at the eco count, 44 to the 29. The difference is really starting to add up here.
Really good macro, and now we see VortiX dropping below 400 food. Now it goes back onto it, but it's not pretty for him. Some Men-at-Arms now trying to come over for the defense. Viper should be able to micro quite nicely here.
Yeah, so just peppers in on them. Needs to be careful. This man-at-arms count is actually getting pretty big, and Viper's kind of slowed down his numbers, surprisingly. It looks like he grouped up 2 different groups to try and wrap around. He's going to finally just bring them back together, but that delay is going to cost him extra Zhugnu.
Look at that micro! Viper barely losing anything. So crazy, and the arrows are flying out now as well. And he's taking quite a nice engagement in VortiX, as we said. Not the greatest food income. Men-at-Arms are really expensive now.
Yeah, and still no marching drills, right? Just look how slow they are. It just looks so troublesome. Like, I'm gonna get you. No, you're not, buddy. I'm just gonna keep running. You maybe get one swing of your sword, but that sword isn't made of steel. It's made of plastic at this stage in the game.
But marching drills now on the way, and that means catching up suddenly becomes an option here for VortiX. Population absolutely crazy in favor of the Viper, but still remember, in H ahead, and now 2 relics in the bank for HRE.
You heard that noise. Any HRE player heard that noise, and they just got a tingling feeling. And remember, the 3rd relic is very close. So VortiX looks like he might get the trip. And there's not much the Viper can do because he still doesn't have the scalability to castle himself, which means he couldn't even collect these relics up.
Let's take a look. And
that's a bit ambitious.
Goes down. No, that was ambitious, yeah.
I think he believed a little bit too much in that prelate there. This isn't your Delhi 130 HP unit, I'm afraid. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer to run out like that. But he's got the gold now, right? Like, he's got passive 600 gold. And when you do the maths now and you think about the extra 20% due to Holy Inspiration compared to Supervise we talked about, mathematically, VortiX is now comparable, if not ahead of the economy of Viper.
It's crazy, right? Feels so unfair because Viper did so much right. Now forced into some farming here. Food income still quite problematic. I think VortiX should start thinking about adding a market.
Yeah, you can just trade for whatever needs, right? That's one of the big benefits when you just, I've got too much gold. What do I get? It turns out like, oh, wow, wood is the true gold of my economy. Just trade for whatever you want because, as we said, it's just infinite 600 gold now. Unlikely that it's ever going to be sieged down unless the game is over. But in the meantime, forced off the gold, being a greedy boy there. A few of his villagers are going to die as they retreat away. 32 to the 55 economy will deny the gold line for the moment. But you can see the issue now that Viper faces. Unless he transitions, he has to bulk his forces in one location. And similar to the issues and the weaknesses of the Lombo composition for England at this stage in the game, you're slow to move. So if you show on one side of the base, your opponent can just shift to the other.
What do you think about the wild move and taking a villager forward and walling in those relics?
I feel like it's kind of less value now, right? Like, earlier, sure, I kind of get, like, Outpost as well as a cool play. But at this stage, like, it's 2 relics in, and you know your opponent has 2 relics in. I think you just need to up the aggression. I think, if anything, invest that wood in a different unit. Well, it's going to deny him again. More villagers fallen. VortiX about to go under the 30 threshold, being doubled up now by the Chinese. But everything else in his economy is happy as Lamb right now. Just sitting underneath their TC, gathering on the berry bushes. We'll need to replace that with farms soon. But once those farms are down, like, Viper still has no way of killing them, right? Like, he can only kill squishies. And it looks like that third relic is going to be picked up now as he buffers him away, gets the breathing room, and it looks like in a moment, VortiX is going to be going up to a passive 900 gold per minute. A leviathan of a mountain for Viper to then overcome.
Nili trying to jump in there, trying to get the kill, but...
The Mangonel, though. The Mangonel! The Mangonel's going to be a problem. Heavy hit coming in. Nice sidestep, though. Has to min-max the damage before retreating as that Mangonel will force him away, but he does not deny the relic. It gets through. One Zhugnu cannot delay him further. 3 relics will be banked by the HRE.
Look at that Zhugnu diving in.
Oh, the death drop!
We had to touch on before.
Yep, he just bends over, drops the relic in, and then gets shot right in the arse by the arrows as he dies. But his goal is achieved. He's done everything he needs to for the Holy Roman Empire to succeed.
Zhugnu numbers still pretty solid at 46 now. And we're not far away from Castle Age. Could see some upgrades. And honestly, with that Zhugnu counter, maybe 2 Springles, how can VortiX defend?
But you can just upgrade the Zhugnu now. Like, you have a critical mass in the field. It's worth doing the upgrade. And it's a lot of damage adds in. I believe it's 2, if I recall correctly, going from Feudal to Castle. And that's burst attack. So remember, that's not just 2 damage like we're in Normie Archer. You're doing 6 extra damage.
Castle Age upgrade coming in. Woodline will get exposed as well. Maybe some healing on those men-at-arms could be nice. Mangonel trying to scare those Zhugnu away. Clearly does not want to take a fight before having the upgrades. What is Viper doing?
He's dodging.
Wait for
He's
the
dodging,
upgrades.
baby. He's Neo. He's the chosen one. Doesn't want the mags to hit him. They just keep missing, and they keep getting closer, slowly but surely. Not in range. He tried for the attack click, but it went on the blacksmith instead. But now 2 Magos. He needs to be careful. He's really playing with fire now. It's easy enough to dodge 1, but 2 is a different situation. As heavy hits on both sides of the formation. Goes in the line, tries to retreat, but look how heavily damaged they are. Just about gets away.
Okay, right-hand side, he moves in as well. Maybe tries to go for some interception of the third Mangonel. Not really happening. Now goes for his own Springles.
VortiX is playing like some sort of weird little flash minigame, right? Like, it's another tower defense game. It's just like you're being attacked by zombies everywhere. React quick enough before they sneak through the gate. But
yeah,
looks like that force is too slow,
just
though.
buy the expansion, and then it's easier for you.
Oh, that's true. Everything you buy for a game is pay to win, right? I'm just waiting for that. Like, I'm not doing anything on the ladders right now, folks. I'm just waiting for the $60 Civ that'll let me win every time. Like, you know.
Nice.
Able to convert any unit from Tech 2. And that's why I'm not allowed to design games. But I just love the line formation coming out, man. I love how many players have started to embrace it. It's so powerful. Like, even the
no vision though, Magnol's.
It's a nice little natural choke point to hide in with Magos now, isn't it? It's just, you could very easily get ambushed by this.
Will only save you for so long. Soon, that wood runs dry.
True, but you're the HRE and you have 3 relics. So I'm pretty sure this is one of those situations you're playing against the HRE. You don't want them to win, so you don't let them get relics. Like, but if they get the relics, do they care about anything else? Is the question you have to ask. And VortiX, he's a little bit of a slippery devil. He's probably the best player at playing this condensed under pressure as the HRE. And if he ever gets his hands on 3 relics, he's the type of player that will sit like this for 20 minutes and then come out stronger than you. So Viper needs to be careful to never lose this army, or this could instantly swing full in favor of the HRE player.
needs to keep up the pressure. We now have some counter-attack happening as well. If we take a look at Viper space, I don't think it is too big there. Some man-at-arms and, well, actually finding some kills.
Yeah,
Crossman will deal with it, though.
I don't think there's any textiles as well. Like, Viper's had no reason to get it this whole time, so this is hurting. Of course, you can garrison the villages. That helps a little bit, but it's still pressure on your eco lines, delays you a little bit, and as you can see, yeah, 50 health, so these man-at-arms do hit hard. Meanwhile, on the other side, I'm pretty sure VortiX did get the textiles upgrade, judging by how little damage he was taking from the Juke Nu. Not that it matters when you get hit by double springled. No, wow. I'm surprised. Like, considering how small his economy is, like, every single one kind of feels like it matters, but VortiX is like, why would they ever be in danger? I'm just going to build farms behind my base, and it's not like Viper can get him when I've got 1,000,001 Mangonels defending me.
Okay, let's take a look. It just feels like Viper's surround is so massive. Like, he controls 80% of the map. He now even is thinking like, okay, where is your production? Where is your army? Where are your villagers? Viper gets suspicious.
Well, sure, it's like...
Moves out a bit further.
It's that weird thing about the way VortiX is playing this, though, right? Like, would you rather be Viper, who is like this guy with all this farmland that he has to till every day? He's basically Mister, right? He has to go out and do farms. He can't attend the tournaments on the time. Or would you just rather be VortiX, like, holed up in a tiny castle with, like, I don't know, 1 gig fiber optic, Netflix subscription, and a big flat screen TV to get you through the winter? I think I know who I'd rather be in that situation.
Well, I'm the one basically watching video games for a living.
There you go. So you want the castle, right?
Well, I'm the castle, yeah. If it's dark and sweaty there, like it.
Got it. So just a note, Nili really enjoys super sweaty things. And this is a ton of a sweaty game as the wrapping from the man-at-arms catching the Juke Nu out of position. Mago hits heavy in. Whoopsie daisy. VortiX gets the better trade there as Viper distracted, but now the sprinklers are rolling out. And these will be clock tower sprinklers, so they take a long time to be pummeled down.
Survive with an extra shot. 3-shot against 2-shot. Now an aggressive keep. Mainly control the wood lines here. And as we mentioned earlier, VortiX pretty blessed when it comes to wood line generation for him. So can still move away. If Viper was pressured like this, would have had a tougher task to move around. But still feels like Viper with pop 160 against only 80 of VortiX. Still nice control. Let's take a look at the sprinkled micro.
See what you can do as they move in. Man-at-arms right and forward. No anti-clump, though, for the Chinese side. Mangonel shot's going to be dodged out as they ride in even deeper, trying to get on top of the sprinklers to make the trades favorable. And the Mangonel zone him away entirely. He sees the villagers, he sees the crossbows, goes for them. Spreads them out a little bit here. Heavy damage being done. Right now, needs to back away. The issue that you're having, if you are VortiX, you can't tell what's crossbow and what's Juke Nu right now, as they look so similar in these fights.
Oh, it doesn't really matter though. You just want to kill them, but it's tricky. Now the Mangonels are retreating. Keep is going up next to this one, and Viper bought himself quite some time with the Springles. Lost a lot of Springles as well, but Keep is up. Now maybe some healing, and then tries to go for another attack. Still full control by the Norwegian.
Yeah, so Viper realized that he doesn't have to worry about the position of his Springles if he just builds outposts, because they can have Springles too. And, you know, they're less squishy as he loses another one. So, you know, easier on the micro in this situation, right? Just build a keep, build all the Springle defenses, and lose a bunch of villages in the process. Is VortiX just trying to min-max his damage to these Mangonels. These Mangonels actually having superior range, so these outposts can't even attack them. Yeah,
the villager losses were optional. Viper still decided to go for it. Dropped quite some population after the last fight. And now continues with the Stranglehold, though. Another keep at the top.
Yeah, so I mentioned that whole castle, and Viper clearly heard me. He's like, I want my own castle. I'm going to build one here. I'm going to build one over here. I'm going to have flat screens and fiber optic and all of them. Satellite if I can't get it that way. And VortiX is going to have nothing because all he has is a tiny corner of the map. He can have his passive generation, but everything else belongs to me. And that's a little bit scary because what do we know about late game attrition warfare in Age of Empires 4? Gold is not the gold resource, right? It's wood.
In some form it is, right? Sometimes, especially if you are very limited and if you have 3 relics, an HRE player needs to think about that. And look at that. Advancing to the Imperial Age now. Palace of Swabia.
Yep, a.k.a. the villager printer, a.k.a. Love Hotel, because clearly people are banging in here with how quickly new babies come out and get pushed onto the wood lines. This is going to accelerate, and it means VortiX can kind of start throwing away his villages, and he needs to at this stage. Like, he's kind of stuck in a corner. He needs to get out soon.
A new baby every 5 seconds.
Yeah, and they don't wait around. They literally push them on the production lines. Like, the HRE are running sweatshops, I'm telling you.
I just imagine the job of the, like, chief doctor, like, push, push, push.
Holds them out of the window. Get him a lumberjack outfit and an axe. We gotta work him, boys.
And yeah, another outpost denied though. Viper 140. VortiX now imp. Honestly, he's setting himself up quite nicely to allow himself a comeback.
Yep, he's ready in cruise mode. Like, he understands that now Viper has to come in soon because we're entering Bombard territory, right? We're entering Shutter Trigger. Like, Viper can't actually compete with the Siege anymore, so he needs to find wiggle room for his own tech up, and you can see he's almost there. He's saving up the food, he's saving up the gold, he's been a good boy, and he's hoping that Santa will deliver something nice to him for Christmas, hopefully that Imperial Age in the next minute.
Double Siege Workshop. Double upgrade. VortiX is going for some stone, goes for the keep. Catching up in villagers now. Yeah, he's still 30 behind, but that won't be a thing for too long.
And they're so cheap as well. Like, honestly, I imagine that the HRE Pastor Swabi villagers are, like, malnourished, right? They don't get, like, their 5 a day. They don't get 3 meals a day. They get, like, 1 bowl of slop. Because they only cost 12 food. Like, to put that in perspective, folks, you only have to return 1 load of resource and you've paid for yourself. That's insane.
That's sick, yeah. Spirit Way now for the Viper. Curious what we will see there. Elite Man-at-Arms now for VortiX. Goes for the first Bombard. And I'm starting to believe. VortiX, he's putting himself in a very reasonable spot.
HRE with 3 relics and you're now only starting to believe?
And,
Buddy, I believe once he had 2.
But he had pop 40 against pop 90.
Yeah, but the crazy part is, like, Viper's issue is he never transitioned, did he? Like, he's always been in these range units, so he's had no way of breaching the base until now. With this tech up, maybe finally the Trebs are starting to be built. This is where he needs to make his move. When VortiX is weak, and the issue that VortiX now has is he has limited space to build up new infrastructure. It means if he loses his army initially, he's going to struggle to find the room to build enough buildings to push out a replacement army.
Do we get the upgrades here for the Viper? Not out yet. He himself goes for some monks. Now wants to get the 2 relics himself. The Bombard, some upgrades there. Chunganu upgrades cannot be afforded yet. Eco upgrades, underwhelming for the Viper.
Look at that. Someone remembered emergency repairs. Of course, it'd be VortiX. I've watched so many high-level players forget about this. It delays the siege so much as well. And the Bombard's now here. The anti-siege really in his own form as he's going to look to get rid of the pressure onto his base. Villagers repairing, Springald rolling out. Needs to be punished for that. Shots are going to come through and able to snipe it down. And right now, the issue with Viper is he hasn't dropped a forward siege workshop. He hasn't actually really escalated his siege count. And that's something you can do as the Chinese, remember. You can't supervise the clock tower anymore, but you can supervise a normie siege workshop. And although he has 1 down, it doesn't have an Imperial official next to it.
15 population difference only. VortiX is climbing there. Villagers. They need to come in.
Oh, gets him in. That would have hurt. It's so easy to not notice as well, right? Because you're already always being hit here by Springalds and Bombards, but nicely done by Viper.
Extra range by VortiX on his Springald. Villager misclicked, actually. Wanted to send them away, then wanted to repair. Okay, now fixes that. Siege just looks so good for VortiX.
It really is the kind of vibe status right now. And look what he's got behind him, the Golden Hats. There's so many man-at-arms waiting to just party in this area. And even small contingents wrapping around the sides. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts wrapping on the south and north side to pick off these pocket ecos, because you can see on the map, Viper has so much loose economy that could easily be exploited.
I'm not sure if we will actually see some counterattacks. Feels like VortiX just wants to group up in the center. That's an interesting bombard, and now the major fight!
The Bombard isn't going to get away. Springald snipes it out. Magos were out of position, trying to move across now as the crossbows rush in. Man-at-arms backing up. Mago shots coming out. Too late to react. Heavy damage onto Viper's front line. Will force him back to the safety of the keep, but the keep will not last long. It's already on fire and being kept that way as the Bombard continues its onslaught.
Wow, 1 Bombard. Now the trap is trying to punish back. Let's take a look if we see a connection there. Ooh, small hit.
Yeah, just a tiny one. Not good enough, though. And he wants to rush the man-at-arms, but he needs to be careful. The boiling oil could melt him quickly here. Heavy hit coming out. But here we go, moving in close to the Magos. Isn't hard committing just yet, just trying to force those villagers away. But Viper really on point with this. He's kind of min-maxing it. He understands when the shots are coming. He understands with this critical force of eco units here, there's enough room to garrison them all inside.
Ooh, interesting keep. We'll get some more gold control there at the bottom, and that's actually an area that Viper should never have allowed.
Wow. Yeah, this is going to accelerate. I wouldn't be surprised if VortiX considers a transition. Like, maybe make room for some knights to wrap round, like, raid in. He has flexibility right now. Like, right now, his army is holding strong, and Viper keeps being forced to replace a lot more lost units in these initial engagements.
Do we see any transition? Feels like elite crossbow and castle age Jonganu is the way to go here for the Viper. Goes for some more siege, mainly crossbow.
And I'm surprised.
Still,
like,
doesn't impress me too much what the Viper is putting on the field.
No, and I'm kind of surprised how often players at this stage in the game as China don't get the Yuan Dynasty. I feel like that movement speed is actually a really big deal here. In this matchup where it's just siege on siege, I kind of understand to an extent, but it would open up a lot more doors, right? You could raid Palace Guard into your opponent's base. Like, the man-arms can't keep up. But I feel like so many players just lock in and they're happy to just have the Song Dynasty with the production rate on villages, and they never look to escalate, whereas you remember how it was, right? Like a month ago, everyone figured China, it was all about getting Yuan Dynasty quickly. Obviously, it was about fire lancers back then, but the movement speed was also a big deal, giving that 15% increase to all military units.
Trap is going to go down. Two Springles punished, and that means the keep is likely to fall as well. Something that VortiX felt was one of his biggest weaknesses is that he only practices with Lucifer, and both play super aggressively, and they felt like they are not playing enough late games. That was their major focus after N4C, and they said, we need to improve our late game, we need to play more Imperial battles, and it feels like VortiX, at least he learned a lot of patience.
Oh yeah, buddy. I was like, buddy, I got news for you. This one's going late, whether you like it or not, because right now, although there's a siege onto this expansion keep, it's drawn all attention away. The forward keep of Viper is gone, and now the backstab is on the way. VortiX moving into position. These Union crossbow, they're in danger, and they don't even know it yet. The repair force trying to keep the keep up. Bombard's going to be exposed, forced to retreat away, but one's already dead, and that means he cannot get rid of the keep quick enough. He needs to get out of here. Has got to keep nearby to retreat to, but instead going towards the Mangonels. Heavy hits coming over the hills. Gonna force him back, cannot turn around for a second, and it means this trade is going the way of VortiX. As the Bombards arrive, he can even siege into this keep afterwards. It's gonna force a fight, and this fight will not look good for Viper.
Viper is playing Chinese and has one single siege unit. One Bombard that we can see heavily hurt, now having quite some problems next to his keep. Couldn't finish off the keep there at the bottom and being pushed back quite heavily. Now 20 population deficit. How did VortiX pull that one out of his head?
He's a magician right now, and he didn't just pull a rabbit out of his hat. He pulled a Gatling gun, and he mowed his opponent down. And that's the Gatling gun line right there. The Springles, the Bombards, the Mangonels, the Siege. It used to be China's advantage, but now it feels like the bane of their existence as they can no longer juice up that clock tower. It means they're not able to amass sieges quickly, and he really is feeling the pain of exactly this. Keep goes down, forced to retreat further away, and this is ground he cannot give over. This forward line of keeps was protecting his squishy rather, soft underbelly, as he hasn't got extra layers of protection further back. But if you look on the map, look at all those red dots right now. So many exposed couplings right on the gold line just to the west of where he is right now. Up in the north, there's another gold line being exploited. Viper was so busy trying to drain the map to reach that late game situation where he's an advantage, he's now spread himself too thin.
Oh, but look at that. Look at what's in the queue. We're going to prepare some wild units. Still crossbows for the defense. I think I would have liked the Viper to go for some sacred side control. I think he had the monks early on enough.
He did, because he went for the relics, right? Like, we saw him grab one, couldn't get the second in the north. But, like, I was surprised. Like, that was something we didn't get a chance to talk about because, like, there was so much aggression around those keeps. But these sacred sites were accessible for a long time. It would have decreased the deficit, and it would have given you a way of forcing VortiX to move out ahead of time uncomfortably, putting him on the clock. But instead, he's full chill mode. And hold on a second. Is that a horseman transition I see?
That's a horseman
interesting choice in this situation.
Raiders.
Well, by the way, like, this is a bad transition, though, because you notice what's being researched, what's been taken by VortiX. He's going into the tanky spearman. He's even getting the additional armor research, so he's got a good front line against the crossbow, and you'd think the Zhugni would handle this well, but weirdly enough, like, late-game spears are so ridiculously tanky, like, they're actually a fantastic economical unit choice, right? They don't cost much, they have a ridiculous amount of health, and also, these quality units crossbows are countered by them.
I think we need to take a look at the wood again. Because that's the only scary factor here. Let's take a look. That one ran dry.
Like, everywhere we go, it's like, wood needed.
VortiX?
Oh, wood.
That's
Whoa,
the
look,
one
he's
wood,
on the
right?
high ground wood now. Look at that.
No number cam. I think he only has wood at the bottom. That's the only wooden cam that he has, but okay, that's plenty. That's plenty.
There we go. Deforestation continuing down here. The Palace of Lavia, it can't get enough villages out quick enough, it seems. There's still more trees that need to be depleted. And Viper, like, this is valuable territory that he surrendered here. You can see another keep coming down. VortiX understands this as well. He's slowly accessing his opponent's base, but he's also taking the most vital resource off the map right now, as there's barely any wood available in the north.
So much siege still by VortiX. Could obviously easily die to 20 horsemen if they get a proper wraparound. Viper sits at 14 now. Goes for the imp upgrade as well. Okay, I don't mind this approach.
Yes, I think he needs to juice himself up with his horsemen. Like, horsemen are a late game good answer. The problem I have is, like, in this matchup, I don't know if it's due to a lack of scouting. I think that's exactly what it is. He doesn't know about the spears. And by the time he realizes he's there's going to be how many in this composition? There's already 15. I reckon by the time he sees it, there's going to be 20, 25. And you can see he gets cut off here. Unable to raid in, and these are bad trades. Even the elite upgrade coming through, this spearman will win out that one.
Yeah, quite easily. Viper, he's aiming for the raid, not really aiming to take a heads-up fight. Ooh, that army looks scary by VortiX. 80 military, the Viper only has 68 on the field. 125 villagers, again, might be hurting him, not getting to the biggest army ever.
And the raids are starting to come into fragile territory, right? Like, look how close he is to his base now. He's even seeing villages now. I think this is the first time VortiX has seen and been able to attack enemy villages for a long time. Minus the repair crew at the front line. Raiding on the back. Like, Lancers just trying to come through with their torches out. But the spears will poke and prod them down quickly. Trades in the meantime, keeping the crossbow, the Jugnu away as the Mangonels on the other side of the formation are protected. Springel's moving in on the bombard. Tries to sneak it away, but it is going to fall. And these trades right now still working out in favor of VortiX as he buffers the horsemen away.
What a great defense there by VortiX. It felt like Viper had the proper setup there, but all the horsemen came from the right-hand side. Just imagine he had an additional 5 horsemen from the left-hand side. Could have sniped all the siege.
Yeah, he had no answer. He tried to move the bombards in range as well, but there's just too much anti-siege here. And now they're in. Onto the temple. We don't believe in religion. Burn that down. Wait, but you have 3 relics yourself. We don't believe in anyone else's religion. Get rid of it. And now the
Sounds like
backstab.
every religion ever.
They've always got problems with each other, and these lads have got problems with each other right now. A fight about to get underway. You can see he's trying to start a step around. He doesn't want to get braced on. Will be forced to fight here. The trade's out. Siege against siege. Mangonels forcing away the crossbow formation, but they turn around to deal with the man-at-arms. Most of the horsemen are down. Mangonels mostly gone. Springles are remaining, but they don't do anything against the squishies. The army is going to be wiped out. The question, however, is who can now replace it quicker?
Oh, Viper still needs to clear this one up, though. The siege must not get away. Viper, yeah, he can clear up the infantry, but look at that. VortiX is retreating, and if he gets home with that, it's still fine for him.
Imagine you building a horseman, and they escape at this movement speed. Just imagine how demoralized that's. Like, wait, they're still alive? That's like 3K, 4K of resources just getting away. Oh, but Viper,
What an intense game.
he still has a lot of the map, but I think this keep going up, this being allowed to happen, is a big boon for VortiX. Remember, he's set up a forward base, so that replacement army arrives on the front much quicker. You can see it can already amass in this area due to all the racks. And the villages are going to be exposed. Wrapping coming through with the crossbows. Units being built up very slowly. Springles, although they're going to do 30 damage, you do everything you can to take out those crossbow counts as they have the gap close and you do have the superior range, and the damage is adding up. On point micro from VortiX, off point a little from Viper.
Let's take another look. I need to take a closer look at the woodlines again, because that's the limiting factor for VortiX here. He obviously will have enough gold, can easily build some farms, but that woodline at the bottom is running dry pretty soon. Luckily, he still has that keep and can still go for this, but this is what he can work with for now. That's why Viper's pushing in that area.
Yeah, to relate to the Call of Duty line, like this is the type of player you hate the most, a corner camper. Look where VortiX is prioritized. Back right corner, also now moving towards that southern corner. Like, all he needs is these to sustain him for like the next 5 to 10 minutes. And it's why Viper's trying to wrap in. In fact, he's going around the back of the main base right now with a raiding force looking to move towards that Palace of Swabia at the back of VortiX's base.
But that's also why Age of Empires 4 is better than Call of Duty.
Oh, baby.
Because you can go for landmark snipes. You can force some pressure. And you can't just camp in the bottom corner there for VortiX. You have to defend your main base at the same time.
Exactly. I mean, you can get UAVs if you're the Chinese. Just build the Imperial Palace. But kind of surprised he hasn't done that. But then again, why does he need to? He knows exactly where all the villages are. Fight underway. Spearman ambush him a little. Turns around for the bombard. Mangonel shots coming in. Heavy damage on the horse. And I think that even out. For what he got, killing mostly just a bombard, that was a lot of horsemen falling.
Ooh, obviously not the biggest investment when it comes to gold. Viper, 2,000 food per minute, so he can put out quite some on the map here. Now 2 bombards rolling forward. Still not the crazy siege. Viper at 3, but we heavily decimated the springald count of VortiX.
But look at the stone right now. Like, Viper, you saw it in the north. He's taking all the stone. Like, he's not done building keeps. He will get closer. He will not be resting until he's fully enclosed VortiX. And VortiX, despite what he's been doing, the rabbits, the machine guns he's been pulling out of that hat, I have to wonder if his tricks are coming to a close, because although he gained some ground, he's now stuck on this southern side of the map. And he has to take a good fight to breach through. Spearman could be the damage dealer that he needs. A lot of them in this formation. Grade's coming out, fight underway, horsemen trying to ride through, actually baiting themselves into their death. Burnt down one of the siege weapons, can't get access to the rest. Bombard moving in range of that keep. A lot of Mangonel just sitting AFK, playing pat a cake in a circle right now. But what matters is the bombards are starting to snipe. Counter bombard coming out to force him away, but you can see the hesitation. This is the power of the boiling oil. Nobody wants to dive those keeps at this stage.
VortiX, I think he was at 9 springalds, down to 2. Viper's bombards becoming really efficient that way.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy the way Viper's taking these fights. It's almost like he's offering up that oldie special meat deal, you know? Just, hey, we got a lot of horse meat, and you guys wanna buy it right now? Because these horsemen are just kind of running into their death. Like, I don't know. I'd have to ask Viper what his favorite animal is. I assume it's snake, but I feel like his least favorite animal is horse right now, because you've seen it multiple times now, right? They just kind of run in and die. This time, though... Ooh. Oh, they've gone the wrong side of the cliff. All right, the horses are blind right now. And that's going to give time to respond, so he can't even get the bombards again.
Just feels like culverines could be an interesting option. Look at the resource of VortiX. He could easily afford like 2-3 culverines.
Oh, he's getting in this time. Mago shot's coming out. Maybe gets 1 bombard for his trouble. That would be glorious if he can find it. Remember, wood, very valuable resource, but the repair crew is there. 3 bombards now rolling over the hill for Viper. That really is a monster coming over the hill. Snipes out one of the Magos. Pop cap reached on both sides, and that's throwaway time. And with 3 bombards, this keep is going to be thrown into the rubble.
Finally. Look at that. 77 villagers only for VortiX. His army is getting scary big here. Viper sits at 66. Heads up fight. Clearly in favor of VortiX.
He's going to be forced to fight. He has to rush in. He can't allow his keep to go up. The boiling oil is in place. He's going to be in trouble. The build force working quick because they are Chinese. And he's not going to be quick enough to get on top of him, so it will be complete. And he's in a big world of trouble here. In a bit too deep, focused on taking out the siege. And even if he gets it, the whole army might just be wiped. And remember, that military district to the south is exposed. It's no longer safe due to the loss of the keep. He's forced to retreat away. But right now, being down at 150 pop cap, he needs time, and Viper will look to ramp up the pressure.
Whoa, that was a massive fight. Maybe an overcommitment there by VortiX. Where were the bombards when we needed them? They needed to find the kill against the keep. Ran in deep, but as you mentioned, boiling oil plus the crossbow combination, just so good at dealing with those men-at-arms.
Yeah, right now, his are looking like bombards as well. Because we're both pop capped, like the quality matters. Viper has 50% additional health on these because it's always been clock tower bombards. So he's trading more efficiently. Easy peasy right now. And we have to remember, we're late game China. They have unique techs related to these units to make them even better than their counterpart. And this is counterfeit VortiX's hand. The HRE has eco benefits. They don't have quality benefits around their siege.
Bombard now from the hill. Obviously lots of advantages, as you mentioned. Their bombard fight, not really something you want to go for against Chinese. That's why I'm a bit surprised to not see the culverines. Now horsemen are coming in again, but I think that's enough spearmen.
Yep, I think that's going to keep him at bay for the moment, but he can never gap close the problem. Of course, you know, horsemen just being taken out by their natural predator, the cannon, but for the most, they're just cheap in comparison, right? Just find freebies like this.
Intercepted another one, gets out of there. Viper has to be happy. Yeah, he lost a keep, but he gained so much control there. Killed so much valuable stuff. I think I would have liked to see some horsemen being sent in for some raids, because he has to know VortiX At the top, there have to be some unprotected villagers.
The big issue is VortiX is about to run out of gold as well. Like, he has got 4k surplus. I think his goal is to try and make Viper run out of gold because, of course, he has infinite. But my issue is, like, right now, because Viper's taking such good trades, he's never really truly running out of gold. He's getting it instantly, spending it, yes, but, like, he's always pop capped. Like, VortiX has been struggling to recover to that 200 mark for the last 2 to 3 minutes at least. Viper, you can literally just hear the noise every 2 seconds.
Solid food income for the Viper.
Oh, that's the freebies.
Only 1k.
Wow.
Oh,
the Horsemen are in. They've ignored the Maganel, but they can just go deeper and raid now. VortiX has lost control of the midfield, and this is a problem when you're up against a cavalry composition.
But he then sees, okay, no horsemen. That means I can push against your keep a bit more. Still has the bombards around. Actually, only 2 bombards. Mangonel's still in the back, but that's a scary force.
If you can see the surplus stone that Viper has right now, how demoralized are you?
Because he is one that keeps that one until he realizes, okay, where can I build another good keep? Where can I stabilize a bit more? He's just not randomly putting them somewhere.
Ooh, good Mangonel shots. Heavy damage being done. They're trying to rise to replay the keep, but these Mangonels could just erase them in a sec. And the bombards aren't slowing down, so that's going to be a lot of villagers lost on the front. It's going to give it a little bit of wiggle room, but yeah, to the stone number right now. You know how some people, like the dog guys, they're really upset about it, and some people just like, I'll just get a new one. Viper right now is just like, I'll just get a new one. Like, my keep's down. Oh, no! I'll just build another one. Ain't that a shame? I've only got enough for like 4 more. Just build another one.
Okay, not sure if dogs work like that, but okay.
Oh,
and now the horsemen trying to go in for some kills. Oh, Mangonels are down, and that means the crossbow becoming more efficient now.
And that means those valuable villagers get to live another day, at least for the moment. However, the bombards are continuing. VortiX needs to get more, but his wood is a limitation right now, and it's starting to sting. Meanwhile, these horsemen have not stopped raiding, joined now by the crossbow, moving into position to block out reinforcements, and VortiX is running out of tree lines to tap in the south.
800 wood in the bank. What else can he do? I'm not sure if Viper realizes, but he has to know, like, wow, I'm controlling 80% of the map for a long time. Now I gave you that small area at the bottom. Where is your income in, Viper? He typically is the guy who gets a lot of vision, gets a lot of raids in, and realizes situations like these.
Ah, yes, I remember it well. The Great War of 1822. The Wood War. As that's what's about to occur around where you saw VortiX's base. Like, this is pretty much all that's left right now. You know, like, if any Stronghold fans out there, you've heard the wood needed. I can just hear it screaming right now because that's the limitation. I feel like if VortiX ever loses this siege army, it just might be GG, so he has to be very careful.
My girlfriend often is saying not enough wood as well. I'm not sure if that really applies to this situation.
There are things you can, like, you know, do to fix that. I mean, you got, like, 10,
I got
20K.
I got some advertisements for that, to fix that.
Oh, nice. I mean, well, like, right now, I think someone could use one of those pills because it feels like VortiX really needs someone to get him back up in this one. As he is running out of space quickly. You can see this military district serving little purpose, and the horsemen have been spotted. And yes, this stealth forest can be dangerous, but it can actually be dangerous both ways. So you need to be careful. And what does Vipers do? I don't care about tree lines. Except these trees that have been lined up in a wall formation. I might just go through and burn down your base. I mean, that's the problem with VortiX's lineup, right? Like, he doesn't have mobility.
Oh, yeah, but that's still a scary force. Now goes in there. Barbican should disappear quite quickly. Maybe Viper needs to go for some Mangonels himself. He's sitting at 2 bombards only. That's not a lot.
That's a little bit of a stinger right now, but don't worry, it won't stop him from turning the Barbican into the barbecue as they're going to set it on fire quickly. And we'll back away. Mangonel's rolling in, need to be careful. Viper giving over a lot of ground. No springles to his name. He's relying wholly on horsemen, and this might be a problem for him. He's building the Great Wall Gatehouse right now. He needs time, though. This is the worst time to do this right now. He might get caught out.
Wants to go for some more HP on his units. This is pretty much detached his units. Look at that. I think the horsemen could now come in and snipe all the siege.
Yeah, they're far out. And the good news is, look at the surplus of Viper. Like, this isn't as damaging as a normal, like, tech-up timing. He has reserves. He can replace his forces in the safety of his own base. And here come the Riders of Rohan. This is what they really look like. The most of it was green screen. There was only 4 lads, actors on top of horses. And that's exactly what you're getting here. As this will be a very slow wraparound with just 4 horsemen burning down those springalds. And that will be answered at the
Now
moment.
the orcs are retreating, scared as they always were. And Mangonel, if that one goes down, the crossbow can actually move in. I think the Viper is even mixing in some archers now, as it seems. Not having enough gold, apparently.
It's kind of a limitation right now, but do you care? Like, archers in this situation, they counter the spears perfectly. They're what you need. If this somehow works out, I'm going to be baffled. I don't remember the last time I was able to say archers in Imperial Age done anything. And you can see that Viper doesn't disagree with
What
this.
is happening
Oh my
here?
god, what? That keeps being denied. The rebellion. Oh, this is the Zhangliao rebellion of, I don't know what year it was, the Yellow Turban rebellion of China right there, as the villagers get armed and they deny the keep going up defensively. And with the surplus Viper now has, he can drop a keep right in VortiX's base.
Wow, does he really want to go for it, though? Feels like, oh yeah, that could be quite nice when it comes to farming. Could be quite nice next to the Aachen Chapel, but he's mainly focusing on the fight in the center. Oh, another Mangonel loss, and that one could have been good against all those archers, obviously low HP. And Viper, he's muscling up quite an army now.
Yeah, he's definitely letting his opponent feel the burn in this situation. He actually didn't even want the keep, he just wanted the gold. Viper's like, no. This is yoinking season right now, sir, and I've yoinked everything but this relic up here. I will yoink everything. Eventually, I'll even go for that boar, because the North really has belonged to Viper. He's been doing his best Ned Stark so far, and somehow has actually avoided decapitation a lot longer than good old Ned was able to.
Well, we are only in Season 2.
Hold on a second. He's doubled up the
two.
survival time. And we'll see if he can keep living for the time being. He's going to push out. Viper really needs this keep. Mangonel ambushing for the tree line. A lot of damage being done. The second shot from both sides, pulling in both ways. Heavy damage in the range formation, and more coming their way, as a lot of them will start to flop to the ground. But the wraparound from the Horseman just in time to get rid of the secondary Mangonel. Fire arrows to get rid of the northern one. Keep is going to go up, but Central Army will be lost for VortiX. Forced away once more. At least he has a keep to protect his retreat.
Oh, VortiX moved in, moved out, moved in, moved out. So many losses on
Shake
that
it all
way.
about,
And
yeah.
Bombard still doing damage from distance. Viper still pop limit while we see VortiX drop down to pop 150. And he's burning through his food and wood bank. Only gold right now.
Yeah, I think he's playing the only 150 pop cap challenge at this stage. Like, I don't remember the last time I saw VortiX at 200 when I looked up. And these Mangonels, like, they're going to struggle now. That keep shouldn't have been allowed. Now that's up, you can't use the Stealth Forest. That was the game changer for VortiX, but now it is gone. Meanwhile, the sneak out. I think by the time he gets access to that gold vein, it's going to be gone, right? I feel like that's where we're at now with this game. Oh, boy.
Yeah, we're contesting every single resource on this map
There's like
right now.
nothing left.
Well, still, we'll find some villager kills. Viper even pulls that away. Macro on point there. And Viper maxed out right now. Can't really go for the bombard. As you can see, it is ready in the queue. Wants to get another bombard out. But right now, too many cheap units blocking the pop space.
Yeah, I feel like if you let Viper get to 6 bombards, this game, like, I don't want to call it prematurely, but it's a little bit over, right? With the current compositions, unless you transition, you're in trouble. We already mentioned the advantage that the Chinese have with their siege, and we're starting to see it, and the count is increasing. Like, they're evening up. And in fact, only Springall's for VortiX now. So he doesn't have that siege potential anymore. Bombard sniping down the keep, forcing the Spearmen to come out. A lot of damage being done as they counter the archers on the other side. Going to force a full retreat here. Needs to be careful about the way he does it as well. They're carousing him around. The Horsemen to try and get around the back and stop this retreat, forcing a fight. Only a Mangonel to protect him here, though. Second one trying to fire in, but they're going to get burnt down. Yes, the Horsemen will be cleaned up, but their goal has been achieved. One Mangonel left is going to be ignored. Bombard's now rolling to the front. And this archer count will make a clean sweep through VortiX's army if he's not careful. Splits off to the side to chase after one Horseman, and that's going to give a lot of ground for Viper to retreat.
Archer's really good against the Spearmen, but Men-at-Arms are still mixed in as well. VortiX could win a heads-up fight, but still Bombards in the back and the keep helping out. Now let's take, it just feels like VortiX not really using his army to full potential, and the Horsemen just finding so many snipes against the siege.
This is the big deal. This is what you couldn't afford. The Springwood army going down. He's trying to snipe out the Bombards, but it's putting him out of position, and the fire arrows do hurt. However, they need to deal with the Spears at the front. Spears forced to retreat away, and all of a sudden, that Springwood count now down to 6. Only one Bombard and a Mangonel, and VortiX, look at his wood. He's running out quickly. Only half a K per minute. He can barely afford to replace what he's losing, and he's going to lose more as they chase in even deeper. And the archers are just ripping them apart. The count decreasing ever more as this fight goes on for VortiX.
And Viper sits at 5k wood. He is happy with taking those fights. He knows that map control is clear on his side. Springle's now moving a bit too aggressively. And Viper knows, okay, you are so limited on your map. Trading off resources is totally fine for me.
Yeah, it's just going to keep this slog up, right? He can afford to. He's sitting on 5k surplus wood. The gold isn't that far apart. Yes, you can say VortiX is getting like 900 compared to the 400, but like the wood is the limiting factor, and Viper has just been sitting on a giant fortress made of wood this entire time. Forces the fight again. Bombard, rolling forward, out of position is going to be easy pickings. And this fight is starting to get very one-sided as VortiX now down to 130 pop cap, 53 military to the 77, and Viper having the quality maintained. Every time VortiX gains one step, he has to take two back. And that'll be enough to force it. He will give it over. VortiX will not be able to cruise forward with a 2-0. Viper will even it up. This one is at least going to require 2 more games to decide.
And I'm so happy that we see at least 2 more games from those 2 incredible players. As you can see, village account here for the Viper. GG. And now I want to ask chat, give me your predictions. What is the golden come for VortiX in this game? Because it has to be absolutely crazy, right? He has to have at least like 40k out of relics alone.
It's got to be, right? Like and then the food side of things as well, actually. Like the kind of crazy part is I think Viper's going to have a lot more wood. Like when we look at it, he might have more wood than gold was actually generated. I wouldn't be surprised. Someone saying 120k? Okay. Someone thought that VortiX opened up a Swiss bank account because that's quite high. Oh, he's teasing us right now.
Economy, drumroll. And it's 54k. Boom. And that's like over 40k from relics, no? He had them for 40 million.
He
maybe
extracted like 3 gold
35 to 40k.
And one of them was big. So, like, yeah, it's around that number. And then just look at the wood, though. Look at the wood and stone for Viper. That's what mattered. The stones on this lad. Also, food for China, something that we don't usually talk about enough. Like, they get a crap ton, as you're seeing right there. It's understandable why VortiX gives this over and why he can't replace his troops quick enough. Like, Viper was quick to identify that this was becoming a resource drain, and whoever had more wood would win. And that's why he just, for free, took the north side and contested the south side. I think the weakness of VortiX...
Largest army, 203?
What?
It's pop limit, Microsoft. It's pop limit 200.
Hold up.
Cheat.
Well, we're not dealing with Mongols, so there's no backups here. Yeah, I think we clearly need a remake after this. Someone has been juicing the population numbers and fudging the numbers.
Okay.
Just look at that wood difference, though. Good God.
So nice to see stats like this.
Yeah, it shows you exactly why Viper can do it. Like, some people are like, oh, wow, why did VortiX give over at the moment? It's like, because he knows he can't replace the army. You know, it's not your flashy ending where someone drops a tactical nuke equivalent in Mangonel fire and obliterates an army. But it's like a critical moment in the game where he looks at the wood lines. He understands the only wood line really left is the one where they just took that fight. So he's not going to get it for free. And logically in that situation, like, replacing his army slowed down. He's losing military buildings. He just doesn't want to waste any more time as he knows this is going to be a long series. So instead, looks forward to game 3. And it means that we can look forward to a lot more. Because remember, these are best of 5s. So not going to be a quickie. 1-1 apiece. At least 2 more games in this. Arabia for some Mongol on Mongol.
Interesting. And the big question is going to be how lucky do we get with town centers next to Ovus? And I think VortiX has to be reasonably happy with this one.
Yeah, but Viper's not. Look where Viper is. That is no man's land territory right there. Oh my God, that Uvu's so far out.
You can't not go Spearman here, right? This has to be Dark Age aggression with that bad of an Ovu.
I don't think so, actually. I think Viper likes Magadai, so I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to open Magadai. VortiX is very much a more greedy Mongol player. He targets Castle Age, or depending on the map, does things like Silver Tree. I don't expect that here, but Viper has been hard on his belief in the Magadai. Usually it's against France, which, you know, if anyone who's like played the French-Mongol matchup, Magadai is fantastic. You'll stomp your opponent. But in a Mongol situation with this bad of a spawn, I think you need that tempo aggression in the Feudal Age. No. I think that's what you get access to. So yeah, opens with the pasture. And this looks bad, right? But I understand why he's doing it. Because he understands if he ever goes on the defensive, he's already lost this game. With this loose of an Uvu, he can't afford to pad himself and go for a quick castle. He needs to be able to get on the field. So in theory, this pasture shouldn't punish him.
At least he sees a pasture for VortiX as well. So that's really nice. Has to make him happy. And he's not getting punished. If we saw a Spearman opening here by VortiX, I think Viper would have had major, major troubles. Look at his gold spots as well. Viper, he has such a horrible map.
Yeah, like, okay, so what I will say about this is if he tempo controls, he actually has really good gold caravan. So, like, I'm a really big believer in, like, you need to optimize your gold line with the step readout. Any idle time where you have to back and forth is bad. So let's imagine, like, Viper goes for that initial gold line, right? And then he goes to the one in the north, the big 8K, and then he falls back to the ones behind. That's suboptimal, right? But if you look at it, he's got minimum distance between 4K gold veins. So that's actually like a ridiculous bulk. That's 24K gold in total right there when step readout's available. If you look on the other side, VortiX, he has got a trail his own, but it ends in the south far away from the additional gold lines. So I think, once again, if Viper maintains midfield control, his mid game looks good, but he cannot, absolutely cannot just outright rush Castle Age in this game.
I never thought of that, but yeah, step it out is so important. And idle time is just so painful for you. So yeah, I can see how that's important. And look at that, Viper. He feels like, okay, I need to go for some aggression. Goes for the forward tower as well. And the big question, how will VortiX address this? Viper's still not on gold. VortiX soon has enough gold and can easily abandon that front gold here.
Yeah, so Viper is feeling on this, right? Like, he's just going to try to get that outpost down. He can deny the gold very easily. That's one thing to highlight here, is there's no fallback gold for VortiX. So you can lock him in feudal if you get this right. But the window is very small for this. It looks like for now, it's not going to be interruptible, right? Because there's no military building. Like, it's this standard exploitation of, like, the pastures early on, right? They're 150 wood. It's a big investment. And usually, these Mongol players, they double up on them early on if they're looking for a fast castle. And that's going to be the plan revealed. Spearmen come out, poke and prod, and force them away from the gold line. We'll force the pack up the go as well. And this should just be where an outpost gets plopped right here between the two wood lines, because that's another limitation for VortiX. He only has one easy accessible wood line at his base.
It still should be fine, right? Like, you need
got
at least
time.
2 towers to redo something there.
Make your mind up.
This is like my girlfriend when we're trying to decide on restaurants. Let's go there. No, you decide. No, okay, I want to go there. And then she comes up with a third solution, and I'm still not happy.
It's like, oh, I fancy some sushi. Oh, I fancy a kebab. Oh, actually, I want to eat VortiX on a plate. Like, cook him up, you know, just carve him up, stick him on. And with that outpost placement, it will begin that. Like, if he gets another one on the other side, VortiX kind of has nothing, right? Like, he's going to be forced to deal with this very quickly. I say he has nothing, but it looks like he has a lot of sheep. Speaking of kebabs, he can have many tonight.
Okay, let's take a look. Villagers should survive those. Spearmen taking some damage, but they are fine. Viper, only 140 gold here. Still takes some time to be up. And that tower doesn't excite me a lot.
Ooh, right then. Aren't you excited by this Khan on Khan action right now? So intense.
If there wouldn't be healing, maybe it would excite me. But
how, like, be honest, have you ever had a game in a Khan on Khan like that where you just lost your Khan to only Khan fire with 2 damage? Be honest.
No.
I'm sure there's some people out there that can share
I
their stories.
play games that are more complex than only controlling one unit. And calling it like, oh, this is great esports. And now let's make it more exciting. Let's put 5 people on the map and everyone controls your one unit.
I feel like I'm being bullied right now. Hey, in fairness, we make a lot of money from controlling that one unit, all right? So, bigger isn't always better, my friend. But, yeah, we'll see if they can find a way to shift this up. Because one thing that has to be said is Viper, 1 outpost really isn't good enough. Like, it's going to deny the gold. Actually, interestingly enough, it might... I'm going to backpedal myself. You don't even need to, like, slap me around the face and say you're wrong. I think that is enough. That's going to waste so much time for VortiX.
Yeah, VortiX not really moving out here, right? And those 2 archers, they can't do much. Need to make sure to not run into the tower. And Horseman, obviously, will be really nice. Viper will get some control. I don't mind this opening. Oh, villagers are getting pulled.
Oh, here we go. It's party time. We forgot about the good old torture trick. Just run all the villagers out. And actually, the archers are baiting fire, so this isn't even a good trade right now. Remember, also, when VortiX burns this down, he's going to get paid. Finally, the focus comes out onto the villagers. Maybe he snipes 1, possibly 2 maximum. That's going to be it. Even
Question
then, like...
is what you want to snipe. Okay, 1, 2 archers down, 1 villager down. Let's take a look. If the spearmen are making it home, it's reasonably fine, I would think.
Yeah, they had the Yam, right? Because they break out just in time. So they just about maintain Yam to disengage here with the maneuver arrow. And it did delay, but now look at what VortiX does. Whips out the pickaxes and taps in hard. I think that was, what, 10 people working on the gold? So you clearly know what his target is.
Well, I think it's maybe a bit of an overreaction. Horsemen are now coming in. I think we need a defensive tower, otherwise that gold will be raided all game long.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he drops one. Like, I'm a big fan of preemptive towers if you're going, like, greedy. I think too many people reactionary tower, and they lose a lot more villages than need be. And it would be a good placement for one as well. Like, you should have a forward tower as the Yam buffer, especially in a Mongol matchup. That difference maker is the world, right? Because mirror matchups, they are small differences that ripple into tidal waves. And 15% movement speed when your opponent doesn't have it is huge.
Spearman upgrade now for VortiX. He wants to really commit to Fuel Age, apparently. Thinks that we will see lots of horsemen. Obviously, witnessed that Viper actually went for the Fuel Age upgrade. So those are proper horsemen here.
Viper's still not going for wheelbarrow, though. Like, no, it's only one side is getting it. So VortiX is kind of like sidestepping to efficient economy. But these horsemen aren't going to find value. Yeah. But,
Not
like,
far away.
he's noticing the double down as well, right? Because VortiX just revealed spears as well, as you said. I'd be interested to see if VortiX is going to do rams. Like, if he's feeling like he needs to now go, and if he'll be able to. Like, I think his assessment is that after he saw the initial base layout, and the fact that Viper has played aggressive, he's probably playing a very loose economy that's going to leave a lot of gaps for VortiX to snipe out villages with.
Oh, Viper. I think you could even think about a second tower at the gold there. Not really sure if one will be enough. Maybe some jump could be an option. Okay, and he goes for the second tower. Packs everything, wants to get the tight base. Uh-oh, this is tricky. And Viper, he will cut some corners, but VortiX Castle Age time won't be too far behind.
Oh my god, he's so far away from the safety of the TC as well. Like, these outposts are everything for him right now. And anything that delays him from building up is problematic. But it looks like the outpost is enough to buffer him away. And VortiX, I don't believe he went for that blacksmith still. So no chance of siege engineering coming out. No chance of a ram rush in this situation.
What are the next steps? Viper goes for arrow slits on the second tower there. Really knows how crucial that area is. Khan will survive. Should get away quite nicely. But both players will arrive Castle Age, I think, at reasonably similar times. Only with the difference that VortiX will still have quite some feudal army left.
Yes, and it's a case of whether you can actually find good use for it. Because, like, archers don't really do anything when you hit castles, right? Like, crossbows come out, lances come out. You feel like you've just been counterfeited. Your hand is worthless. So VortiX probably just needs a transition prepped. Because step readout being built up on one side, and VortiX, he'll finally begin his own. And then it becomes about midfield control. And right now, Viper has that. These horsemen give him the flexibility that VortiX is still denied.
This game will indeed go a bit slower. Step readout from both of them. The typical army composition here is men-at-arms, crossbow, and then trying to go for field siege engineering and add some siege in there. Play a bit of the Abbasid composition, and both with the really open gold, I could see a long 1-to-C play from both players here.
I do like the idea of Lance and Magadai here, though. I think it discounts that composition you just talked about, right? Because, like, the Magadai just drive by, they beat you out. Man-at-arms get beaten out by Lancers. You also have the flexibility to raid. So I'd be intrigued to see if either side includes cavalry in their composition, because even the Magadai bounce back to be pretty strong units in Castle Age, which they need as well because they're so pricey. A little freebie there.
Especially with some archers out, I would be surprised if Viper even thinks about Mangodai as an option. Goes indeed
Well,
for
maybe
crossbow
VortiX though, right?
arms.
Like, VortiX has that option, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. Not really sure if he has the proper setup. Nah, he added barracks as well, so
Okay.
it's going to be the men-at-arm play.
So it's going to be
And
your normie
Aztec
Mongol game. Okay. And of course, like, it makes sense, right? The weakness, of course, of doing the full cav composition is you don't have the ability to build the siege creep, right? You can't just build Mangonels and Sprills in the field. So it's just kind of like that pad down. I think, like, what's coming down to is, like, both players have kind of monitored the micro of each other in that last game. And I think especially, like, when we think about how this fight's played out, there wasn't optimal micro from both sides at all times. There was quite a few missteps, a little bit of a whoopsie-daisy. I think notably, like, Viper, maybe in the big fight, he's like, engagement point on his micro was off. And I think with VortiX, like his ability to move his new troops to the fights was really inefficient, and that was something Viper exploited a lot.
Also think cavalry is good if you can make some raids happen, but Mongols are so good at defending against raids. Right? Think about like both players have defensive towers, all your food and wood economy is under the town center, and therefore the mobility advantage is not really on your side, and that's why the crossbow man-at-arm combo just feels so straightforward and so right. Did that one survive with 0 HP?
Yeah, as it does. That's how maths works here in Age of Empires 4. All right. What is 0 isn't dead, it's just infinite. I think that's how that works. But yeah, my thought on the cavalry specifically is like, obviously in the central fight, if you're looking to end the game in the next 5-10 minutes, it's really good. But if you get beyond that, like you start to crawl out into these gold lines, and that's when cavalry's good, right? Just raiding wide can really pay dividends between 20 and 30. But you're right, for like the 15-20 minute timer, you have to have a static army that can hold the center, because it's the quickest route to the opponent's base.
Oh, Khan dives in deep. I'm a bit surprised that he actually wants to commit there.
Oh, I think he's
Mango
dead.
Didn't finish.
Oh, can he get the
Villager
fast
went
shots
down. What's with the Khan? Is the Khan going down or not?
Well, the villager went down, but the Khan got away. He maneuvered out of that on like 2 HP. I think he's still alive. He gets out, barely though.
Khan caught killed. Viper sniped it afterwards.
Oh, he chased him down. Maneuver on maneuver arrow, good enough. So final taps come out. Of course, that Khan up in the castle age hurts a decent amount more, doing 8 damage. A lot harder to kill with the timing now. Yeah, this is a big advantage. We talked about this, right, in the pre-game. Like, Khan is huge. It can change a fight. 1 arrow is all it takes.
No siege for VortiX. Still researching in his blacksmith. This is the timing for the Viper, and gold is exposed.
Yeah, but he needs to be careful because he didn't get that additional outpost. Like, he can't crawl. His villager got sniped out, so he won't get a new one down, which means the Yam's move is going to run out quick. Because it's not what it used to be. It runs out in like 10 seconds compared to the old 20. So you're going to quickly find yourself not juiced any longer. Oh, those Mago shots, though. Ooh. VortiX. Dancing with death there. Just about pulls away. And Smirrel's coming out. This should be spotted, though. I feel like Viper's baiting himself a little bit here. Shot over the side. And he will back away in time. But that was a little bit too close for comfort. Damage onto the Mangonel. I think he did pull another villager, so he can repair this up. But this is the fragile state right now. Just one mistake could lose you all the territory because you don't have the anti-siege army yet.
Let's take a look. Springald will find 1 kill. Still Khan versus no Khan. 20 population lead here for VortiX. Has more military on the field. And Viper gets denied again with a tower.
That's painful right now. Like VortiX with a slight eco lead, now gaining the ground. Coming out from the protection of his own Yam movement speed. Needs to be careful about how he engages, but look at the problem. This is so smart from VortiX. He understands there's still no anti-siege. If he keeps running him, he can't get it out. Mago shots coming out though. Heavy damage done here. Looks for the trades in the meantime, trying to target down the counter Magonels. And they are going to be blitzed through, so 1 Mago left in the field on the side of Team Blue. Men-at-Arms chasing away the Springwalls as a very squishy, very heavily damaged front line of VortiX tries to engage, but the Yam is the difference that allows him to gap close onto that Springald.
What Mangonel shots were those? Holy moly. Viper, I think he was 20 military behind, and all of a sudden it's even.
He gets the Mangonel as well. Still that movement speed, and look what he's doing. Viper's like, just let me get my building hammer. We're going to keep this going. It's a choo-choo train straight towards VortiX's base, and movement speed must be maintained.
And it's Khan versus no Khan still. And now finally the next Khan pops and overextends a bit again. And look at that. Viper now sieges up. I think this is the spot where you go for 3 Springles and then you add a trap even.
Yeah, traction traps, of course, having less range, but still more range than the Springolds. And of course, with that movement speed, you can disengage. I like how he's just got the relics covered in, just in case VortiX is thinking of being a greedy boy. It's not beyond him. He is one of those players that likes to gather those relics up in this situation. Especially when his opponent is boxed in, paying attention at the front of the base. But no dice here.
Over depleted for both players. No one really expanding from what I can see. And Springald's finding another kill. That gold is still pretty much exposed.
So you
Where
can
do
see
we move next.
So I think like he has to go south, but it's going to leave him away from his base. But you can see the difference here. Like Viper's a lot more confident about his moves because the issue that VortiX has is if he loses a siege trade now, his base is exposed. Viper's leveraging the fact that he's got a lot of ground covered that he can lose siege and not lose, right? Like it's not like VortiX takes a fight and is instantly in his base. He doesn't even have an outpost in the center. Whereas Viper, he's building them up. He's clumping them up now. And as you said, this is where Trebs start to come out. Once you have 2 or 3 of these outposts down, you build trebuchets behind them, and they are unapproachable due to the Springwood upgrades that do 60 damage per shot. Shots coming in.
Look, 2 Megalots in the back.
Ooh, backstep. Able to get away. So nice trade there by VortiX, but he needs these trades like we talked about.
Okay, that's another Springald emplacement. That's a crazy fortification.
Yeah, it's like it's the popular play right now. Like you just get outside your opponent's base and you drop 3 outposts and then you just build traction trebuchets. And it's so unapproachable because like the Springals are oppressive. I'm surprised they haven't been nerfed yet. 60 damage per shot on a static building with that much range. It's pretty nutty for what it costs.
Well, it can't move. It takes away a lot of stone. But obviously opponent can just move away if they're Mongols. Now trying to move to another goal, but that one feels really exposed. And yeah, that's a flying cancelled outpost.
Wait, what hello, outpost? I think that's using Protoss technology or something right there. That doesn't... What has happened to that? I wish I could make roofs float like that. It would save me a lot on walls.
It's easier. Also, it's like good air, but still protects you from
It's
rain.
not going to protect him long. The Treb's a problem. And also,
Oh, don't
remember...
repair. Don't repair. Oh,
he's going to get paid again for this. Oh, boy. He's already changed target as well. Oh, no, he did go over. It looked like he switched over, so he will finish it off. Won't look for the double payout. But, like, right now, like, the gold numbers, Viper's... I feel like he's a little bit weak. Only 400 gold. He should really be accelerating this. You can see VortiX is switching his line back on a new gold vein here. There's going to be a move around by just the Khan, and that is going to distract a lot of the military force from VortiX.
Apparently, chat goes crazy about step
I think
readout.
Viper hasn't deployed his step readouts. That's the only way this number makes sense. I think he's trading with his TC. Like, I'm looking at the number. It hasn't gone up. I think in Viper's base... Okay. Oh, no, he's not even gathering. Okay, as soon as we point it out, Viper's similar to us. He only just noticed.
Still had some okayish gold income at the top, so something must have happened, but yeah, a bit weird for sure.
Yeah, just a little bit of drunk mining there as they all seem to just be on a very prolonged coffee break. That's just like UK working standards, 4 coffees in an hour. But finally, they will get back to work. And that's going to fill a gap, but that also opens up a gap in the meantime that VortiX can choose to fill. Like, he's got a lot of room now. He's obliterated a lot of these outposts. He's got paid to do it. His army's built up, and now Viper, trailing by a notable military pop cap, definitely looking like he's going to have to retreat here.
This is the true mirror that we were looking for. Mistakes on Viper's side, arguably. Step readout not really working. Also, villagers apparently dropped off at the... instead of the step readout, so lost quite a lot of gold and it ran out faster. Also, Viper not really having any economy upgrades. Now behind the military quite a bit. And economy looks completely even when it comes to pure numbers.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about that sometimes. Like, when you're doing intense stuff on the front, like, if you already were dropping off a GUR and you unpack a step readout, like, it's not optimized that the units go to the step readout. They, by default, continue to the GUR. It's actually weird as well, because if the GUR is further away, they'll still go to the GUR. Right?
Really?
We've all seen situations, right, where like villagers are heading off to a town center because the step readout has just been parked there and they haven't automatically updated rather to the step readout. It's really weird behavior still.
Now it all comes down to the Springald. 6 versus 8. VortiX with the advantage there. Let's take a look, trying to catch VortiX while retreating.
He has the Magos as well, though. This is a bait. Viper's baiting himself into trouble. Turns around Magos, tries to get him in range, forced to fight in the center. Double man arms shots coming out from those Magos. Heavy damage done. Front line not holding. Springald trade in the meantime in favor of VortiX, and Viper is about to surrender a lot of ground here. Instead, he just surrenders the game. He understands it's over. That suboptimal use of the step readout, the missing gold in his economy, the missing escalation of his military force will cost him game 3.
Ooh, VortiX with the crazy hold, had the open gold there, so much pressure, but held quite nicely with all the Springalds used, and as you can see, gold count there, low for quite some time. Viper used everything, but couldn't put more on the map, Oh no, actually, that's why am I always confusing colors? Like I want to tell a story and just go with the story, but where was Viper? Not
They're
really
just
advancing.
lines,
Maybe
man. It's just
around the
numbers.
18-minute mark.
Yeah, so I think Viper, like you can see, so there's that drop off when I think he shifted to a new goal line. Yeah, this is very weird, like the way that happened. Because I feel like he was dropping off at step readout at one point. That's what I'm trying to figure. I swear I saw some villagers dropping off
Let's
the
take a
right
look at
place.
overall stone gold income. I think it could easily be plus 2k, plus 1k. Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
VortiX,
such a big
2,000
lead.
more gold in a mirror.
Also the wood, like this is what matters, right? Like you kind of fall behind. The moment you fall behind, you haven't actually got surplus to rebuild, and it's kind of crazy because if you're this far behind on wood and you invest that many outposts and you're paying your opponent every time he burns them down, like you need to keep pushing forward. If you ever stop pushing in, it's just a complete worthwhile trade. Because as I said, VortiX gets paid for these. You pay 100 wood to build them, and he burns them down and gets paid 25 food and gold. Like by the end of that, the trade had paid for itself easily and then more, right? Like it's such an insane snowball effect. It's why I love watching Mongol engagements because it's not just when you get Mongol mirror matchups, it's not just the Khan that makes a big difference with the arrow buffs. It's the fact that any lost building is an increased cost compared to other civs because of that raiding bonus you get.
And 2,000 wood, 2,000 gold. That's 8 Springles that
And
VortiX
you
could
saw it
afford
as well,
due
right?
to step redoubt and wheelbarrow. Just making it so much easier for him. And as you can see, Viper, even with the better KD due to his massive mangonel shots, simply couldn't put enough military on the field.
He's looking to fight back with HRE.
Okay, let's take a look. VortiX obviously opening with the scout, very likely to add a third scout out of his hunting cabin there. Builds it with 2 villagers. Sometimes we see people go for 1, but simply wants to get out numbers a bit quicker. And Viper at the bottom has an interesting cliff in front of his base that we will take a look at. But first of all, we take a look at
It's the
VortiX
Gathering.
finding 3 quite nice and early.
He doesn't even want to bring him back. Like, this is so greedy. He's like, nope, I'm going to continue on. Now, Viper, he has gone for the double scout, as expected, or also got his prelate out already. And this will allow him to deny a lot of the equity away. It's really important as well. Like, we already highlighted that Roost can be played as an aggressive feudal ram rush type civ. The last thing you want to give them is a generous donation of bounty. You need to deny this. It won't hurt your economy much because you're the HRE, baby. 40% increased gather rates. You're still ahead, even if you take a break in your villager production to pad it with a scout.
Well, those 3 wolves, I think VortiX needs to make sure to not run too far, otherwise those wolves won't follow him. Has those 2 around as well. Those are following a bit better, and yeah, make sure to give them line of sight of the scout to keep on chasing.
It's so awkward in these tree lines as well. Like, wait, are they still with me? Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's going to take me even longer to get back to base. Slow down my tech up time a tiny bit. Bit annoying, but won't hurt him too much. Like, right now, it looks like he's going to be close to cracking 250, I think. Like, he's now hunting his deer. I think he's got his third scout coming out and dealing with the home deer. And the ones in the north haven't been addressed yet. So, overall, I'm expecting, like, 300 bounty at this rate. And I don't think the Viper can do much to disrupt that.
Maybe he gets lucky and finds the one at the top. I'm not really sure if he would even consider scouting in that area because he obviously knows, okay, Roos will always have the advantage there. And yeah, VortiX has to be happy with this opening. Quite a nice bounty early on. Oh, actually?
Oh, he's sneaking
that's
in.
fortunate.
He's
Don't
going
go
to
for the
actually...
wolf.
Oh, there's a wolfy boy there as well. So, I think VortiX is moving across, though. His scout should be close by. Yeah, he's going to arrive at the same time. So, intense warfare underway, folks, with this slow micro. But no, he's delayed on the wolf. This actually works out better for VortiX. These are worth 10 gold each. The wolves are worth 25, but they take ages to kill. He's going to try and move in. Not able to get the arrow out. And now he has to wait here. And he'll get attacked by the wolf the whole time. Nice chase away. Will snipe out one the deer. Moves across, but not able to get in range. Another one going the way of VortiX. Getting the better side of this. Even turning onto the wolf now. Actually assisting Viper as he gets attacked. But so on point. And I think maybe Viper's had enough of this. He's just going to try and drag away the wolf, understanding he's not getting any of these deer.
Oh, let's take a look. 6 gold, 6 HP, obviously, as you
2
know.
shots left.
3 HP. Oh, no!
Oh, no!
Mistake by Viper.
VortiX, no, he wasn't paying attention. He didn't get it. He was looking away. He was shifting another scout across this deer line to try and clean it up. Big mistake made there. Missed an opportunity to get an extra 25 gold, but still healthy. Up at 265, almost at that 300 bounty mark.
Really nice. Obviously, not the biggest difference between 250 and 500, simply because you are in tier 2. Small mistake there with the villagers. But yeah, quite some nice gold here for VortiX. Passionate Scouts feels reasonably likely, especially because he didn't go for early wheelbarrow.
Nope. Neither side actually going for it at all. And the interesting part is actually I want to see whether VortiX plays towards that southern ball. Like, it's not optimal because it's off the side, but it does have the value you're looking for. So the player I was talking about, which B does, he moves out around like the 4 to 5 minute mark onto the ball, kills it, drops a wooden fortress, and drops a hunting cabin. And the key to doing it is this. He's got it beautifully there, actually. There's the berry bush, there's the wood, and there's the boar. So dropping a hunting cabin gets a lot of value out of that area. It is risky, but up against the HRE, you're not likely to get raided at all.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. It just feels so risky, though.
It
no?
is. It's really risky.
How much faster is the boar compared to deer?
So I believe it's about, someone's going to correct me on this. I'm trying to like pluck it from my mind. I think deer is 0.88 and boar is 1. It's either 1 or 1.1. I feel like 1.1 is too high. That sounds like fishing in my brain right now. But it's definitely higher, right?
Okay.
And also there's the berry bush line there as well, right? Like, so it's also a staging point. Usually you want the boar near the center forest because it's like you're not taking time away when your troops run there to go past. You're still protecting and moving forward. But yeah, so it's 1.1. I think fish, like deep fish is 1.2 or 1.3. And then like shore fish are a little bit lower than boar. So I'm probably wrong on this. I'm probably wrong. I don't think it's
wild
above
on one opinion on Twitch chat. We can look it up later. And people are already starting to disagree there.
Yeah,
VortiX now moves out with those villagers. Maybe is exactly going for what you wanted to see.
Okay, so I'm just double checking it now. So I was right about deer, well, a little bit off. The 0.83. The boar is 0.9. My apologies. But it's still like much quicker, like considering what you get out of it. Like, it's one body and it's worth 2k. And if you're going for an early game build, like 2k is plenty of food to get you through it.
Early nights. Ooh.
Oh, he's doing it.
That.
He's doing it, baby. Here we go.
75 gold plus the hunting cabin that you mentioned. So going to generate something in the long run as well.
He has choices as well. He can bait it towards the berry bush line, so he has the double value, or he can put it nearer to the stealth forest for additional gold income. But it looks like he's going to shiv on the spot. Knight here as well. So on top of this, remember, like, it's also beneficial because you get 75 gold for doing this. So now just gather that, drop the hunting cabin. That hunting cabin with the loose trees and the nearby tree line is going to generate gold. And considering how early in the game you're doing this, it will pay the 100 wood cost investment initially over time out in gold instead.
Yeah, quite easily there for sure. Remember though, lots of walking distance with those villagers, right? 8 villagers walking for a minute each. 320 resources gone.
Yeah, you know, but it's the boar, man. You gotta have. There's a pub rule here. If you lose to the boar in your matchmaking, you have to go for the boar, my friend. My favorite part is that, like, obviously in Age of Empires 2, the boar is really important, right? Age of Empires 4, it's kind of ignored. The wacky part to me is like the innovator in this, the one that was like obsessed with this in pubs was B. B wasn't an Age of Empires 2. He was a craft player. So how is it like a craft player ends up being the one who has a boar fetish, who wants bacon every game, and then you just got the AoE2 players like, just not worth it.
Sneaky archer range.
Wow, I love this. Yeah. This is really cool.
Age of Empires 2 players are simply scared of boars, right? Typically, like if you do some normal micro, one villager easily gets the boar and then the rest helps, and you don't even lose a lot of HP. Age of Empires 2 players at the start, started off with losing 3-4 villagers against boars, and maybe they still have nightmares.
Hey, man, I've seen people have nightmares in Age of Empires 4 from the boars. There's not just AoE2 players that get wiped. I can guarantee you of that. Like, big shout out to Lyric, really big streamer, who managed to lose, I believe it's a Mongol game, as his whole village account died to a boar. So it's not a foreign concept here either. I love this raid, by the way. VortiX is just keeping his opponent boxed in. He's hiding his hand. And when he reveals it, it's going to reveal fast. These archers are running half the distance. They're not having to slowly waddle across the map where they're going to be exposed to raids.
This will be completely unscouted for the Viper. But Viper actually goes for Horseman himself, so we'll have a reasonable answer. Has 3 prelates out already. This is pretty damn early, simply because his Aachen Chapel was so bad. And now thinks about castling here.
Yeah, that's the depressing feeling. When you can't get like gold and wood, or like wood and food, you're like, the game really hates me. I think his option is wood and stone. The worst choice to have with an Aachen Chapel is the HRE, because you're not going to be TC booming in this situation.
Okay,
Maybe.
Viper, after scouting it, pretty good situation for him. Now even goes for stone here, Viper. That's quite interesting. Probably wants to go for some emplacement. Siege engineers now for VortiX. Tower still helps out with the defense.
Yeah, it's going to keep him padded for the moment, but now he sees the pressure, right? Like, he's boxed in. You expect this in the HRE matchup. But my concern is that VortiX can easily float up to 3 archery ranges at the stage because of the gather rate increase that the Roost get with the fortresses. So he can afford the archer production. Now, that being said, Viper has the answer. This is a lot of horsemen, but if he gets clashed with the knights in a choke point, these trades will not be to his benefit.
Okay, this is interesting now because maneuvering is something that it's pretty untypical, right? Probably a situation Viper has never faced before. Double sneaky archer range after your opponent took the boar. You know that there will be exposed villagers at some point as well. And it's so easy to underproduce army here if you're the Viper. Scouting has to be crucial.
It's so tricky as well because, like, usually the weakness, why horsemen are so strong in the current meta is when you're, like, running troops for an early rush across this field, like, you can pick them off, right? You can find stragglers to snipe them. That option's been removed because of this proxy base. It's so close that VortiX is able to stage nearby, threaten the HRE base, but never have an exposed supply line of new troops coming in.
Intercepting, absolutely not an option. And look at that, Viper is actually trying to hide in the stealth forest. Not really going to happen. VortiX will even see it. He has a good idea. And Viper, I think he simply feels safe because he has double tower. But double tower won't be enough against this force, including a ram.
Yeah, here it comes. A lot of archers, rams. Only 3 knights, though. So this is exploitable. There's a lot of horsemen in the field right now for Viper. 9, in fact, which is enough to deal with this. Also, there's a spearman threat, right? 9 versus the 3 knights. And now we see the switch over. Spearmen are being produced by VortiX. Something that isn't too pricey. He lowered the count of knights because they're 240 resources each. And he doesn't need mobility because of this forward base.
Oh, push now coming in. Let's take a look how this one will go for the Viper. Will not do the greatest damage early on. HP already good, dwindling down quite heavily for this tower, but Ram is retreating. Spearman count seems reasonable.
Yeah, a little bit of a weird formation shuffle there. One knight almost going down. He can garrison in that battering ram when the spears approach. It is a cool play. But at the moment, the archers baiting in the spears and the horsemen out of position. Viper with a miss micro here is going to be late to the fight. Spearman holding back, knights engaging, scout to buffer and give that room. Ram is being ignored, priority coming out to the archer count. Most of the spears falling, knights being min-maxed in the meantime, and it feels like VortiX is getting the better side of this fight. Emergency repairs is popped early, but that means it's now on cooldown. And it looks like you're about to lose this fight. He's forced to retreat, barely any horsemen and spearmen left, and the count's still looking very healthy for VortiX.
Uh-oh, second ram now as well. That means Viper, it will get really tricky to go for the repair, especially because he already used emergency repair, as you said. And now floating lots of gold and stone, maybe distributing those villages a bit differently. Could have helped him producing some more horsemen and archers. And spearmen.
Yeah. He's just like, he's sitting on this. He hasn't gone for trade either. I think he was expecting to just get away with castle and horsemen raid in the center. This was not expected. Like you said, he didn't know about this proxy base. Why would you expect it? Like, VortiX has innovated the build. B didn't do this. He extracted on the board. He didn't build a base there as well, and it's completely caught Viper with his trousers down.
Oh, and those horseman numbers are not looking too pretty. Look at that military count. 34 against 13. Villages are going to fall, and those towers, even with emplacements, won't hold against 2 rams.
No, sorry. Like, last game, it was all about the Yan. This game, baby, it's all about the Ram. And those Rams moving on to the bolstered up outpost. It will last a little bit longer, but these fights are still not looking favorable. Knights ride in, able to tank the arrow fire. E-repair will come out, but the horseman line is dead. He's transitioning now into archers, and Viper is feeling very flimsy at this stage in the game.
Uh-oh, now tries to pull some villagers, but without any army support, that's not going to work, my friend. That's going to be so many dead villagers.
Oh my god, the fire comes in, the archer's focusing on him. Obviously not taking him down quickly because the textiles are there, but this still hurts. Your economy is in a fragile state right now. You're nowhere near ready for castle. You can't afford this sacrifice, but you have no choice. The knights are in as well. Heavy damage being done. Trying to formation shuffle out the other side of the garrison outpost, but it doesn't matter. The Rams are too tanky. The numbers depleting. Viper now down to 23 eco. VortiX about to double them up. And once this outpost goes down, the floodgates will open. You can see already VortiX is floating almost 1,000 wood, ready to up the ram count in the beat of a second. And that's enough That's enough to give it over. He doesn't wait around. VortiX will make it a quick 4th game to give him the 3rd point and lead him through, while Viper will have to fight through the redemption bracket down in the realm of the losers. I'm sorry, Viper.
What a crazy play there by VortiX. And the archer ranges, even though they were scouted by the Viper, the reactions simply not there. Spearmen there, quite some loss. The tower, actually quite a lot of reactions were made. But VortiX, just with a crazy food income from that boar, made some magic happen and showed up with way bigger numbers than the Viper expected.
I've just got to give so much credit here, man. He took B's strategy and he truly innovated it. Like, it's so impressive. I expected the first part, he caught me off guard with the second, but it shows just how remarkable these players are at learning from each other. Like, just because it's kind of that notion, like, it's an old adage in game development, like, steal, don't copy, right? Take someone else's idea and, like, make it your own. And VortiX really done that. He made this the year of the boar. It looked so dominant, and that's the difference, right? Like, the fact that you don't expect this, I don't know if it's going to be optimal long-term, because it's like, it's an off-meta strategy, right? Like, we've seen this before. Like, someone tries it, people become aware of it, they counter it.